Yeah, it's not the easiest thing to go through and submit starting lineups anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Dealing with a ton of injuries. Now, I'm not going to talk about the obvious ones too much. Obviously, when we answer questions, we'll cover these. But we already know Justin Jefferson on the IR. We already know Anthony Richardson is going to be missing 4 to 8 weeks. I'm assuming everybody here has heard that. Just in case you haven't, breaking news for you. But nonetheless, some recent updates that we have. Travis Kelce expected to play on Thursday. Javonte Williams not listed on the injury report, so Javonte will play. You can actually see the underdog pick'em of Javonte. They have him at about 36.5 rushing yards, 51.5 total yards, 7.5 fantasy points. But outside of that, you got T. Higgins officially getting in a limited practice. I mean, they have the bye week next week, so I mean, I don't know if you want to rush T. Higgins back this week. And instead of just making sure he's 100% healthy, possibly risk that he re-aggravates something. And keep in mind, T. Higgins last year was a game time decision a couple times, ended up playing that is, and playing one snap and standing on the sideline. So I'm not going to trust Higgins regardless. Evans did not get in a practice, and this is concerning. Keep in mind, Evans was drafted back in 2014. I mean, this is someone that is missing practice. It's not the end of the world, but at the same time, you don't love to hear that he's not practicing coming out of the bye week in particular. Amon-Ra St. Brown does get in the limited practice. Sounds like Amon-Ra St. Brown will be good to go. You really won't have any limitations here, ladies and gentlemen. Saquon Barkley gets in a limited practice on Wednesday. Third straight week now of Saquon Barkley getting in a limited practice on Wednesday. Hopefully it means he actually plays. Keep in mind, I don't think it will matter if you're going up against the Buffalo Bills. Now, Roschon does not practice on Wednesday, which makes things very interesting because if you have no Roschon, if you have no Khalil Herbert, we already know Herbert's missing this week. If Roschon can't clear concussion protocol, then Deontay Foreman may 100% be viable at this point, ladies and gentlemen. Jahmyr Gibbs does not practice. Fire up David Montgomery. Gibbs considered day-to-day. Deshaun Watson does not practice either. If you look at the implied team total, according to Las Vegas Sportsbooks right now, they have the Browns at like 16 points for this week. So expectation is, I mean, you have no Deshaun Watson this week. Devon Achane, while he is placed on the IR, expectation is he will be back this season. Now, of course, we don't know if that's a guarantee. What you at least have is a little bit of a reason for him to come back. Obviously, the Miami Dolphins being Super Bowl contenders, a better spot than Minnesota, them just having no incentive whatsoever to bring Jefferson back. You have Darren Waller not practicing on Wednesday, considered day-to-day. Doesn't matter if he plays or not, right? You're a 14-point dog against the New York Giants. I mean, the Giants are just going to get smoked. Kincaid is still in concussion protocol. I think you actually bump up Dawson Knox. We just recorded our tight end rankings video for tomorrow, and we actually did end up putting Dawson Knox as, I believe, a high-end tight end 2. Let me pull this up real quick. I mean, yeah, that high-end tight end 2, that low tight end 1. I mean, you can either go back and forth there. And then Miles Sanders not practicing. You're not playing Sanders, but if he does miss, then you can play Chuba Hubbard. I mean, you're a 14.5-point dog against Miami. These games are going to be just blowouts. Travis Kelce is going to be playing, as we already discussed. But please let me know in the live chat if you have any questions about any more of these injuries that maybe we didn't cover. I assumed a lot of the other things like the Jefferson, Anthony Richardson injury, we've already talked about enough. And I'm sure we'll have a million Justin Jefferson and a million Anthony Richardson questions to answer anyway. Speaking of Jefferson, if you want to look at those Minnesota Vikings pick'ems on Underdog, I mean, you have Cousins right now for 248.5 passing yards. You have Alexander Mattison at 48.5 rushing yards. You have Jordan Addison at 54.5 receiving yards. And of course, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you'll get a 100% deposit match, plus our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. Plus, you will get a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em for tomorrow night's game, more than less than half a total yard if you're new to Underdog Fantasy. And it doesn't matter if you're new to Underdog or have been on Underdog forever now, as long as you used promo code FLOCK when you signed up to Underdog Fantasy, you're also going to be getting a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. So please make sure you take advantage of that. But I think that should be it. Let's go ahead. Let's dive into some questions. Joshua says, Jacobs or JT and Jameson for Pollard and Palmer? Yeah, I would go ahead. I'd trade either running back for Pollard. Jameson has long-term upside, but he's not of the caliber of, like, I'm stopping a deal I want because of him. Tillian says 12-team PPR single flex league. We have Lamar, Bijan, Pollard, Diggs, Judy, Andrews, Hall, JT, Moss, Warren, DeMarcado, Wilson, Reynolds. Got offered Tyreek for Bijan and Breece Hall. In my position, do we take it or look elsewhere? I mean, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. Typically, I am going to go ahead and I am going to see if we can go out there and just get the best player. And I do think upgrading from Bijan to Tyreek Hill is a nice move. In reality, I think that including Breece Hall to get from Bijan to Tyreek is probably just a little bit too much. I understand that we are loaded at running back. I'm fine if you wanted to sell Hall, but I think more so you'd be looking at like selling Breece Hall and Jerry Jeudy to go get someone like CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Adams, right? I think, or Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think that would be a little bit of a better deal. Nick says was offered Adams and Puka for Tyreek. We have Breece, JT, Bijan, Tyreek, Olave, Pittman. What would you do? So if it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format, I'm probably going to go ahead and hold on to Tyreek Hill because I don't know if Adams and Puka really move the needle too much for us here. The scenario in which I would trade Tyreek for Adams and Puka is if there are 14 or more teams in the league, or if it's going to be a league, say, where you start 3 wide receivers and 2 flex spots. If a league like that, picking up the extra starting wide receiver does make a big difference in how we project out our lineup from a week-to-week perspective, then maybe we could look to do it there, my friend. Jay Johnson says trade Mostert for Breece Hall, 5-0. Do you like the deal? It's a 10-team full PPR format, and I think it's a very fair trade. In the short term, like if you ask me how I rank these running backs for this week, I'm going to go ahead. I will take Mostert over Breece Hall. Now, with that being said, if you ask me for the long term, if you do eventually get Devon Achane back in here, and then you're splitting Devon Achane, Jeff Wilson Jr., and Raheem Mostert, we don't know exactly what the workload would be like. Long term, you probably go ahead and take Breece. So on a 5-0 roster, I'm fine with this move as long as we understand that in the short term, Mostert will probably outscore him. Big Route says, should we trade Mostert for Mike Evans? Hell to the no here. I'm 2-3, and we still have Etienne, Swift, Mixon. Receivers are Flowers, Collins, Cooper, Kirk, Jefferson on the IR. Thinking of by countering Mixon for Olave. I agree that I think we should look to go ahead and sell a running back for a wide receiver. I just don't think you are getting a compelling price point here, my man. I mean, you could still go through and you can still see if we can counter something. I honestly may ask for a little bit more than just Olave if we're selling Mixon, though. Like, it's not like we're complete toast at wide receiver. Zay Flowers had 11 targets last week. Nico Collins looks fine. So, I mean, if that's the price point we're going to get for one of our running backs, even if in a perfect world we sell him for a receiver, you probably look to hold for now until we get a better price. Joe says 10-team full PPR format, 4-1, 3 wide receiver league. Tua, CMC, Eckler, Brown, Waddle, Pickens, Kmet, Breece. And then on the bench, we have Mixon, Achane, Gabe Davis, London. What trades do we make? I have a lot of solid running backs. You do. Obviously, Achane going down makes the running back room just a little bit worse. But still, having CMC, Austin Eckler, absurd. 2 top 5 assets in fantasy football. We have Breece coming on as well. If you wanted to go through and sell Joe Mixon and George Pickens, if we can go get to that CeeDee Lamb level wide receiver, I wouldn't mind if you wanted to make that swing, specifically with George Pickens in particular, because I do think you have to be somewhat concerned about Deontay coming in and seeing a considerable amount of targets. Ethan says 10-team PPR format, single flex, A.J. Brown, Madison for DK and Josh Allen. Madison, not a big difference maker for me in this format. It's would I rather have A.J. Brown or DK Josh Allen? I think it's a fair deal. A.J. Brown is the best player in it, but in this kind of format, I do kind of like overpaying for the elite level QB. The Chase says 1-4, 12-team PPR. Should I trade Pollard and Hollywood for Eckler? Hell yes, go do this. Leaves me with Chase, Evans, Garrett Wilson, and Kirk. Yeah, you have enough wide receiver firepower to go out there and start. And Austin Eckler in a full PPR format looks like he is just going to crush with his receiving volume with no Mike Williams in this offense. Joby, always happy to see you. My man says, PPR trade Amari and Mixon for Amon-Ra. Mixon, Breece, Pickens for Eckler, Devonta Smith. That would be the deal I'm looking for. Or Mixon, Breece for Eckler. We have Kyron Jacobs, 2 for counters. So Pickens to Devonta Smith is a clear upgrade in my mind. Joe Mixon and Breece Hall for Austin Eckler kind of is up to you. I'm completely fine going out there and overpaying for Austin Eckler. So I do think that the best trade here is going to be that middle deal where we send Mixon, Breece, Pickens for Eckler and Devonta Smith. Lofi says, hey, Mason, we got an offer for Swift Puka and we get Austin Eckler. I'm going to go ahead. I probably will keep Austin Eckler here myself, my man. If it's that like 14-team league with multiple flex spots, then obviously, I mean, the rush spot matters a lot less, and you can go ahead and you can take the package. But I think we want the best player. I'm viewing Eckler as a top 5 asset going forward. Part of my arrogance coming out saying Nico Collins, Tajay Spears, or Zay Flowers in the flex in a 10-team full PPR format. Appreciate you, my friend. Definitely not Tajay Spears. He does have upside, but I mean, you kind of want to see a Nick Chubb. I'm sorry, not a Nick Chubb. A Derrick Henry injury if you're going to be putting him in this range. I think you most likely end up taking Nico Collins. But I don't fault you at all for wanting to go ahead and go Zay Flowers coming off 11 targets. Now, Ryan Camp says 5-0, 14-team league. We have Tua, Hill, Kupp, JT Walker, Andrews, Flex, Ridley. Drafted well, killed the waiver wire, made trades. Best 14-team league ever. Was offered CD and Kyron for Ridley and Walker. It seems like every time you send me a trade, my man, it's like, how the hell are we pulling this off? This is that one deal where I'm like, you know what? It's fair. It is up to you. But yeah, this is an absurd roster. I don't know if we bought low or drafted extremely low on Kupp or JT, but now that we have them in here in a 14-team format, this is nuts. If it was a 10-team league, I would think it's strong. So honestly, at this point, I think you can sit on your hands and just count your money. I don't know what else we can do. If you wanted to make that deal, you can, though. Now, Hospital Mike, always happy to see it, says 12-team full BBR double flex. 5-0, Jefferson injured. Was offered Kupp, Brian Robinson for DJ Moore and Josh Jacobs. We also have Rashad White, Kyron Williams. Should we counter with one of those instead? I would for sure sell DJ Moore and Rashad White for Cooper Kupp. I don't know in a double flex league if we want to sell both DJ Moore and Josh Jacobs for Kupp. I think that DJ Moore is an intriguing sell-high candidate. I actually dive in deep with this in a video that comes out tomorrow. But if we can counter with, say, Rashad White instead of Josh Jacobs, and then if he says no to that, then go, well, I mean, you don't need to even send me Brian Robinson back. And then see if he says yes to that. But I think you have 2 offers you could go with there. Miller coming out saying, I am biased on Evans and need your help. He was wide receiver 16 last year and has double the air yards of Godwin this season. Bucks are number 11 on the power rankings, and Baker's top 10 in completion with good starts. Red zone targets seem logical. So, I mean, obviously, 6'5" wide receiver, you'd assume, okay, this insane touchdown rate is going to be able to keep up. And I don't know where you're getting these quote-unquote power rankings from. But what I would rather do instead of seeing like power rankings, ESPN says, oh, this is how these teams have been so far this season, is try to get a sense of what these teams will be based off Las Vegas sportsbooks. And right now, what's actually really surprising, this is higher than I expected. They have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 8.5 for their win total. But obviously, I mean, with the Bucks, you were looking at a team right now that currently is 3-1 at the top of their division. So they're essentially saying that the Bucks from here on out are looking to go either 5 wins to get to 8 or 6 more wins to get to 9. But regardless, they are projecting out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be a bad football team going forward. You do have minus 140 to over 8.5. So, I mean, they're essentially saying this team's going to win 9 games. They're saying this team wins 9 games. They're saying from here on out, they go, what, 6-6? Yeah, actually, no. They go 6-7. So I guess more so a middle of the road team from here. With Evans, he's dealing with the hamstring injury. I don't know exactly where you are ranking him. I ranked Mike Evans this week dealing with the hamstring injury in a matchup going up against Detroit. What is interesting is they only have Detroit favored by 3, but I put Evans at wide receiver 23. I'm still going to have Mike Evans as a wide receiver 2, not a wide receiver 1. I don't know exactly where you're putting him. Obviously a player that you want to root for, right? I mean, he's just had a phenomenal career. And it seems like he's done it right every step of the way as well. Nathan says, we have Allen for Jefferson. What can I get for Fields in a trade? I mean, typically what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to see if we can send Justin Fields in like a depth wide receiver for Josh Allen for Mahomes. Now it's a little bit tougher. I mean, if you're selling Fields and you want to get up to like a wide receiver, if you could go get to CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, I mean, anybody in that range, that'd be an absolute no-brainer. Running back, if you could get to Montgomery, Walker, Jacobs, Hall, Kyron, Swift, I think you could look to do that as well, depending on what you were looking for. Jack says, 12-team PPR league, 4-1. We have Goff, Brian Robinson, JT, Chase, Olave, Goddard, Palmer, Judy. And then on the bench, we have Jones, Dobbs, Gibson, AJ Dillon. Any moves got offered Jefferson for Olave. That is an interesting trade. So I was in an underdog draft earlier today, and you did have Chris Olave going before Justin Jefferson. But with that being said, if you are 4-1, we can kind of afford to think a little bit more long-term here with these trades. So if you wanted to go out there and make that move, I'm not going to fault you at all for it. But I mean, right now, if we made it, at that point, we would be relying on maybe like Aaron Jones in our starting lineup. So, you know, I actually kind of like this idea, but instead, what we're probably going to look to do is we're probably going to be sitting on our hands and waiting to make this move. I don't know. Going into next week if Aaron Jones is good to go. Basil says Achane and Waller for Laporta. 1-4 10-team league. I agree. We probably want to be selling Achane for any value we can get on a 1-4 roster. I don't know if this is the price, but I agree for putting him out there on the trade block. Adele says 10-team full BBR format, 3 receivers and 1 flex. Sitting at 4-1, we have Kirk, Pittman, Wilson, Etienne, Kamara, Hawkinson, Eckler, Higgins, Amari, Zach Moss. Do I trade Kyron for Jefferson? He's 1-4 and looking to win right now. So, I mean, if we are looking at this, how it would impact our starting lineup in the short term is we would essentially be starting Pittman, Wilson, Kirk wide receiver, Amari/Higgins in the flex, and then running back, we were going to go Etienne and Kamara. So we do have the depth to go ahead and get by making this move in a 3 wide receiver full PPR format. If you wanted to do it, I'm fine with it. I don't want to sit here and tell everybody like, oh, go trade for Jefferson. Go trade for Jefferson. Go trade for I think it's going to be very dependent on your exact situation. And there is the downside that Jefferson doesn't come back this year, right? Like, we don't know. Caesar says Ford and Wilson for CD or Ridley. I would trade Jerome Ford and Garrett Wilson for CeeDee Lamb in a heartbeat. Calvin Ridley, kind of up to you, but I would do it for CeeDee Lamb. Nate, welcome to being a member of the flock. Happy to have you, my man. Jason, always happy to see us. Says 12-team PBR. We have Hurts, CMC, Brees, Waddle, Pittman, Puka, Laporta, Nico, Hollywood, Deontay. I'm 4-1. Offer Jefferson, Waller for Collins, Hollywood, or CD for Pittman, Hollywood. Should we go for either? Okay, so we are 4-1. We are looking for the long-term upside. Hollywood is not startable for this team regardless. I mean, hell, he's like the 7th or 8th skill positional guy here. This team's loaded. So 100% I agree on this idea. I agree on making this type of trade. I would trade Nico and Hollywood for Jefferson Waller here, or I would trade Pittman and Hollywood for CeeDee Lamb. I think you should. I wish you could go for both, if I'm going to be honest with you. I think it is going to be up to you fundamentally if you want to go out there and if you want to trade for Jefferson and if you're worried about the possibility of him not coming back later on. But still, great price point on either deal. It makes a lot of sense for this team in particular. Now, Adam says, should we trade Lamb and Pierce for ETN? Probably not. Happy BR, the team is Tua, Eckler, Kyron, Pierce. See, I understand that Lamb has been very bad this season, but I'm still projecting out CeeDee Lamb to be a wide receiver 1 in fantasy. So I personally am probably not going to make this move, my friend. Big Moon says, thoughts on the Arizona running back situation? You're a legend. Appreciate you, my man. And yeah, you had Keontae Ingram listed as the starting running back on the Arizona Cardinals depth chart today. So with Keontae, you don't necessarily know if he's going to be fully healthy. With Keontae, we don't know, I mean, if he's going to be able to overcome the lack of efficiency that he showed earlier on in his NFL career. I think that you probably want to roster both running backs. I'm not going to start either one this week until we actually see what they look like. If I was forced to go through and start someone, I would start Demercado, but it could easily be Keontae Ingram. And this is what we talked about in the waiver wire video, right? We said if you were picking up Demercado, he would be the number one priority if we got news regarding Keontae Ingram and he was not going to be viable and James Conner was out. I don't think either running back is talented enough to overcome this being a bad offense if they are committee backs. So yeah, if they split the backfield, you don't want either guy. Now, Colby says, I have Kamara, Etienne, Wilson, Ridley, Ferguson, White, Jeff Wilson, Achane, Zay, St. Brown, Jameson, Dell, Anthony Richardson, 4-1. Best quarterbacks available are Baker, Jimmy G, Russell Wilson, Derek Carr. What should we go for? Okay. I think most people are going to run to go out there and just roster, say, one of these quarterbacks and say stream from a week-to-week perspective, which I think you can stream from a week-to-week perspective. And I think I'd probably go ahead and I probably look to go with Baker Mayfield this week. But what I actually probably would do as well is if we can slide Anthony Richardson over to the IR, which I'm assuming that we can. And if we can't, it sucks to say, but you may have to drop Anthony Richardson if we can't put him on the IR. Because if he's out 8 weeks, it's week 6. He's come back for the fantasy football playoffs. You know, like, I don't know if we can roster someone 8 weeks. So I would go ahead. I would look to pick up 2 quarterbacks. Probably going to be picking up Baker Mayfield and Russell Wilson, or Derek Carr and Baker Mayfield, or Derek Carr and Russell Wilson. Not Jimmy G, but drop Richardson / move him to the IR, whichever one's possible. And I think the other person we'd be letting go of would be Zay Jones there as well, my friend. Jaden says 12-team PPR 2 and 3. Struggling, we have Lamar, Etienne, Bijan, Kelsey, Lockett, Wilson, Zay. Need some receivers. Wanted to trade Kelsey for receivers, but don't know who to get. So, I mean, here, wide receiver, rolling with Lockett, Wilson, Zay. Honestly, I think this is a great team, and you are going to be much better going into the future. I understand that, yes, I mean, it has been bad, but Lockett's had 27 targets so far this season through the first 4 weeks. So the target volume is there for Tyler Lockett. You just kind of need to see him get a little bit better. And then Zay Flowers had 11 targets this past week. He's a rookie. You're not expecting much early on. I actually think we probably stick with the wide receiver. I'm not going to be trading Kelsey with that team. I think you're in a very, very good spot, and we just got to be a little more patient. Now, Jordan says Adams for Herbert. I'm definitely going to go Adams here, my friend. It's a 2 and 3, 12-team PPR format. We have Richardson, Daniel Jones. Other receivers are Diggs, Deontay, Nico, Judy, Johnson. Yeah, my scream the quarterback position if the price point to trade for a quarterback in your league is like Davante Adams for Justin Herbert. Nebula says Jefferson and Richardson for Adams and Kamara. Oh, I'd way rather have Adams and Kamara here. Yeah, good price to get out of Jefferson and just to avoid the risk. Now, Ollie says I'm giving Montgomery, Higgins to get Lamb and Kittle. We have Cook, Eckler, Roschon for running back depth. Thielen, Addison, Godwin for wide receiver. Is it a good deal? Higgins to Kittle, I mean, honestly, up to you. Maybe a slight downgrade in the long term. And this coming from someone who had Kittle as a buy low guy a few weeks back. Montgomery to Lamb, I think, is fair. If it's a full PPR format, I probably want Lamb. If it's a non-PPR league, I probably want Montgomery. So I think it's a fair deal. I think it is up to you, my friend. Matt says Mixon, Swift, Pierce, Chase, Keenan, Waddle, Collins, Addison, Hopkins. Looking for an upgrade at running back. Who should I target and for who? If you really wanted to go through and see if we can sell like Nico Collins and Joe Mixon and get up to the Travis Etienne, Tony Pollard range, we would do that. I mean, obviously, if we could go through and sell like, say, Jordan Addison instead, if you want to go like Addison and Mixon or Addison and Swift, if you could somehow get to the Bijan or Eckler range, I think that'd be a no-brainer as well. I don't think you have to do anything there, though. And ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 200 likes on this live stream. We have about 1,000 of y'all watching this right now. So if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We're going to be live streaming every single day until 2024. We've already gone 166 days in a row. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, You can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, get a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. Plus, ladies and gentlemen, since it was our birthday week, Underdog's hooking everybody up who's ever used promo code FLOCK with a Justin Herbert special pick of more than less than half a total yard. And on top of that, if you're new to Underdog Fantasy, you'll be getting a Patrick Mahomes special pick of more than less than half a total yard as well. So please make sure you're taking advantage of that. Super happy that we're able to get y'all all of that. But our next question coming out from, I believe, Arthur says, 10-team PPR, single flex, 2 and 3. We have JT, Bijan, Hurts, Swift, Moss, Spears, Jefferson, Devonta, Olave, Abadra, Dell, Deontay Waller. Recently lost Jefferson, any moves. This is the perfect example of a team that may have a losing record, but fundamentally in the long term is good enough where we do not need to go through and make any trades. You are in a great spot. I understand losing Jefferson is going to be brutal. And if you're 2 and 3, if you're 1 and 4, and you really needed to go out there and you really needed to get some points in right now, then yeah, I agree. It probably makes a lot of sense for us to go through and sell Justin Jefferson. But this is a 10-team league with one flex where we're going to be starting Bijan, JT, Devonta, Amon-Ra, and then in that flex spot, we have like DeAndre Swift, you know. So, I mean, selling Jefferson for what? We don't really need anybody in the flex. We're chilling as is. Jefferson has the long-term upside to make a difference with this team. It's a great roster. So, honestly, I don't do anything. JJ says, give me reasons why I should drop Judy and get downs from the waiver wire. I feel like Minshew is an upgrade in terms of targets for downs. He has been an upgrade over Richardson so far for downs this season. Now, with that being said, there's no way in hell you can go through and drop Jerry Judy for him, especially if you look at the fact that, come on, he may get traded, right? If Jerry Judy ends up getting traded, say he goes, he's not going to go to KC, that's in division. But say Jerry Judy gets dealt to Buffalo, and we went through and we dropped him for Josh Downs. How are you going to be feeling, my man? Cody says Swift for Puka or Ridley. I mean, if you wanted to go get Puka, you can. It's really dependent on your team. I'd probably keep the running back. Angel says a 4-1 10-team PPR. We have Lamar, Bijan, Jacobs, Kupp, Godwin, Andrews, Walker. And then on the bench, we have Kamara, Flowers, Hopkins, Fields, Rice, White, Deontay, HN. Any moves? So obviously, I mean, we're missing out on a few players here, but we did get Kupp back in. We got Kamara back in, so we have plenty of depth. If we have Lamar and Fields, the thing is, let's go through and let's take Fields, package him with Godwin, and let's go get an elite level wide receiver. Let's go get Devontae Adams. Let's go get Amon-Ra St. Brown, simply because we can afford it, my man. Wyatt says Moss or Madison this week. Also, St. Brown for Jonathan Taylor. Full BBR format, you're probably in a spot where you still prefer St. Brown. And then between Moss and Madison, I'm going to be going Zach Moss this week, Alexander Madison long-term. But y'all know we've had Alexander Madison as that sell-high guy. I mean, assuming Akers does take a little bit more here. Gio says Keenan, Ryan Robinson, Judy for Jacobs, Cooper, and Higgins. Keenan's the best player in the deal, but going Brian Robinson to Jacobs is an upgrade. Going Judy to Amari is an upgrade. We're downgrading from Higgins to from Keenan to Higgins. Probably prefer the Keenan side in the short term, especially with the Mike Williams injury, of course. Skrill, always happy to see us, says, hey, Mason, my team is Bijan, Eckler, Chase, Olave, Andrews, JT, and Herbert. I'm currently 3-2, 10-team format, full BBR. Just traded Montgomery and Higgins for Jonathan Taylor. What are your thoughts? Love the work, man. I think this is a phenomenal team. To be honest with you, though, I would say that we probably overpaid here just a bit. I mean, you can afford to do it because, I mean, hell, we're sitting with Bijan Robinson and Austin Eckler. This is a nuts and Jamar Chase somehow. So clearly we've been crushing trades for a while now. But still, with that being said, I mean, I think a lot of people would prefer David Montgomery over Jonathan Taylor straight up, right or wrong. So we probably overpaid just a bit, but still crazy team. To the max says, would you trade Waddle and Ford for A.J. Brown? Yes, I would. And I think that Waddle is a buy low guy. Anonymous says, pick one, drop one. I'm flex one, drop one. Charbonnet, Javonte, Jaleel, down, Zay Jones. Ooh. Flex Javonte, drop Zay Jones. Yeah, I mean, it is a tough spot because with Zay Jones, I think from a best ball perspective, he can definitely be viable. Like if you're in one of those underdog drafts, I think that Zay Jones can have a random spike week and could look really good at times. But the issue is, what has to happen for us to view him as like a must-start player, you know? And I don't really know the answer to that question. Now, David says, Flowers, Brees, JT, pick two for this week. I'm going to go JT and Brees. If you wanted to go Flowers over JT, not going to fault you. I could go back and forth. Jay says, would you trade JT for Lamb? We have CMC, ETN, Achane. We have Waddle, Hollywood, Lockett. Thanks, half PBR. Not in a half PBR format where we just lost Devon Achane. I think we probably go ahead. We definitely start Lamb this week. But long term, I think we assume that JT continues to take more and more from Moss. Hugo says, should we trade Olave, Mixon for Jamar Chase and James Cook? Olave to Jamar Chase, massive upgrade. Mixon to James Cook, pretty big downgrade, but hell yes, go get Jamar Chase. Go get the best player. Ron, happy to see you, my man. Says, hey, Mason, happy birthday. Thank you. Technically yesterday, but still, I'll take it. 2 quarterback, super flex, full PBR. We have Burrow, Ford, White, Pittman, Tyreek, Hawkinson, DJ Moore, Watson, Christian Watson, Jameson, Akers, Jaleel. We need some help with quarterback and running back. So, I mean, here, our QB2 with Deshaun Watson being out's a little bit frustrating. I think he's probably going to miss this week. You wouldn't have been that excited about playing him anyway since he's going up against San Fran. But still, nonetheless, it does suck. If you wanted to go through and see if we can send like DJ Moore and Deshaun Watson to go get a top 4 quarterback, that'd be great. Obviously, I would love to get to Mahomes. I would love to get to Allen. I would love to get to Hurts if it was possible. In reality, in a super flex league, you probably wouldn't be able to it. In reality, you're probably going to be trying to get maybe like, say, Lamar Jackson there. I think that would make a little more sense. But let me swing this over. We're actually going to have to pull up some of these questions on this other screen here. So just give me 1 second to do that, ladies and gentlemen. And as I do this, let me remind you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you see any of those pick'ems that you like on Underdog right now, I think my favorite's DJ Moore for more than a 55.5 receiving yards. You can find that link in the live chat in the description in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% a positive match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings, plus a Mahomes special pick'em, plus a Justin Herbert special pick'em. More than less than half a total yard for both those guys. Okay. So now our next question. Coming out from Mitch, who says, 14-team PBR, running backs are weak. We have Ramondre, Rashad, DeMarcado, Jaleel. Should I trade Ramondre and Tutu for Javonte and Judy? Oh my gosh. Tutu to Judy is an upgrade. Ramondre to Javonte is a downgrade, even with how bad Ramondre's been. I honestly may not even do it. I was ready to say to go ahead and pull this trigger, but I don't think you can. Right? Like, how could you possibly be excited about going through and trading for Javonte Williams right now? Like, I know he's not on the injury report, but Jaleel's just looked better than him. I probably don't do it. I probably don't. Mason says, have BBR, 10-team league, 3-2. Trade Watson, Amari, Mostert, Brian Robinson, Roshan for Eckler and DK. Hell yes, go do this right now. I don't care about the rest of the team. Even with Mostert getting that step up with no HN. I mean, going from Christian Watson to DK, give me DK. Amari, Mostert, Brian Robinson, Roshan for Eckler. It's Eckler. No brainer in a 10-team league especially. Okay. 44 SMU coming out. And this question will be answered right after Turn On the Fan. Sorry, we live in Texas. It's still hot in October. It's still hot in our fall. But 44 SMU says 10-team single flex 3 and 2. We have Tua, Bijan, Walker, Waddle, AJ, Thomas, Ridley. And then on the bench, Barkley, Flowers, Ferguson, Charbonnet, Osborne, Jeff Wilson Jr., HN on the IR. Basically no trades, facing a juggernaut. We need high upside. Okay. Well, if we're not going to be able to make any trades, I agree. 10-team league, single flex. We are looking for upside, upside, upside. I think we're rostering that upside already with guys like Jeff Wilson Jr. down there. If you're saying that you are going upside, upside, upside in your starting lineup, I think we leave it as is. You can make an argument, well, Saquon Barkley has a ton of upside, right? But ultimately, at the end of the day, can we be excited about playing Saquon Barkley in a game where they're 14-point dogs against the Buffalo Bills? We can't. Now, we're one like away from 300 likes on this live stream. Go down there, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Ray says, 4 and 1, we have Hurts, Moore, Pittman, CMC, Jacobs, Hockenson, Mostert. Evans, Kyron, HN, Watson are on the bench. Should we trade Kyron and Evans for Jefferson or Amon-Ra St. Brown? So shallow league, where obviously we have a great bench here. I'm assuming HN's going to be sliding into our IR. I would say we're not trading Kyron and Evans for Jefferson. If you wanted to make this move, you're going for Amon-Ra. You can't go through and overpay for, no, I don't want to say overpay, but you can't pay up for Jefferson here on a team that just lost HN as well. Adam says 12-team PBR, single flex, 1 running back. We have Burrow, Walker, Adams, Keenan, Hockenson, Lamb, Olave, and Njoku Dobbs. I just traded Mixon and Metcalf for Hockenson and Lamb. Oh, phenomenal deal. Assuming you actually start at tight ends, of course. If you don't need to start at tight end, I mean, Hockenson would probably project out as like a mid wide receiver 2 with no Justin Jefferson here. But if you have to start at tight end, great trade. Clyde says, Dynasty, 18 PBR double flex, 3 and 2. We have Lamar, Andrews, Flowers stacked up. We lost Jefferson to the IR, traded for Jamar Chase, got offered Burrow, London for Lamar and Flowers. Which stack? We're going to go with the Lamar stack under the assumption that it's a 4-point passing touchdown league. I'd rather have Lamar over, actually, no, this is Dynasty. Never mind. Dynasty, you go Burrow. No. Dynasty, you go Burrow if it's super flex. Dynasty, you go Lamar and Flowers if it's a 1-quarterback league. But obviously in a super flex Dynasty format, you're still all in on Burrow. No concerns whatsoever. Just Sherman says Elijah Mitchell versus Jordan Mason, deep Dynasty bench stash. I'm still going to go Elijah Mitchell, but Jordan Mason looks like he is slowly but surely becoming that guy. Nathan says, should we trade Kelsey for St. Brown and DJ Moore? 0-5, 8-team league. If it's a league where you start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, then no. 8-team format, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. You keep Kelsey. Kelsey's a no-brainer there. Zagreus says, happy belated B-Day. Thank you. Trade Lawrence for Fields. Yes, even I would go through and trade Trevor Lawrence for Justin Fields, my man. Wout says, Taylor or Smith in the flex spot, full BBR format. Also, appreciate your grind, my man. You're absolutely crushing it. And for the people, appreciate you, my dude. I mean, here I think long-term, you definitely want Jonathan Taylor. Short-term, you can make an argument for Smith before JT expands his role. But Smith does have a really tough matchup going up against the Jets, so probably Taylor. Mike says, second league, trade Jefferson Kupp for Chase and DJ. Yes, we would go Chase and DJ. I really hate trading Kupp for DJ Moore, but pivoting off of Jefferson for Jamar Chase does make a lot of sense with the Jefferson injury. Mystery Man says, was offered Olave and Higgins for Puka. We have Jamar Chase. I would rather have Olave and Higgins over Puka, but I am also an idiot. Now, Young Ales the Sauce God says 16 PBR double flex. Got offered Eckler and Amon-Ra for CMC. If this was a 12-team format, I would be sitting here going, yes, trade CMC for Austin Eckler and Amon-Ra St. Brown. But in a 6-team league, in a 6-team league, my friend. Nope. We are going to go ahead. We will be keeping Christian McCaffrey. Eckler's going to crush, but CMC is just a completely different tier. Caleb coming out saying 3-2 in an 8-team full BBR format. We have Tua, CMC, Mixon, Keenan, Lamb, Hawkinson. And then on the bench, we have Thielen, Brees, Watson, Myers, Wilson, Ford. Any upgrades? Who would you start at the flex, and what would you do in our position? So in the flex, I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to play Brees Hall. But if this is an 8-team format, I think what you could look to do if you wanted is I think you could look to see if we can package together Adam Thielen and Brees Hall to go get an upgrade at running back to see if we can get to like the Tony Pollard range. I think that make a lot of sense. And also with it being an 8-team league, if you can't pull that off, then maybe instead we try to sell someone like Christian Watson or Adam Thielen or Jacoby Myers. None of these guys matter in an 8-team league. They definitely matter in a 12-team format. They matter in a 10-team league. In an 8-team league, they don't. If we could package anybody with Tua to go get to a top 3 QB, let's do it. Miles says 5-0 PBR. We have Fields, Etienne, Walker, Roshan, Jeff Wilson, Jaleel, Jefferson, AJ Brown, Myers, JSN, Atwell, Dobbs, Rice, Komet. Should we move on from Jefferson and any other suggestions? Nope. You need to be patient. I know that we're dealing with some crap on this team. We're going to be sitting on our hands for the time being. If this was a 1-4 team, then yes, we should panic and we should look to sell Jefferson to get points in our lineup right now. But being 5-0, you have way more flexibility. Now, Logan says 14-team PBR SP Superflex. Sitting at 2-3, would you trade Pollard, Sanders, Michael Thomas for Eckler, Wilson, and Zay Jones or Dotson? Try to get Ridley instead of Wilson, but they won't. Pollard to Eckler, clearly give me Eckler. Sanders to Garrett, Michael Thomas to Garrett Wilson, give me Garrett Wilson. Miles Sanders to Zay Jones. Zay Jones doesn't matter. Sanders doesn't matter at this point. 100%, let's trade Pollard, Michael Thomas for Eckler, Garrett Wilson. If we have to include Miles Sanders, get it done. Let's include Miles Sanders, get it done. Eric says start 3, bench 2. Addison, Hall, White, Smith, and Pittman. I think we're going to go ahead. We're probably going to end up benching Rashad White. And then maybe Michael Pittman. Even though, obviously, I mean, it looks a little more appealing to play Pittman now that we have Gardner Minshew. I don't know. Conrad says 10-team at BBR single flex 5-0. We have Herbert, CMC, Mostert, AJ Waddle, Puka, JSN Palmer. Was offered Jalen Hurts for AJ Brown. What should we do? Not if we have Justin Herbert. I think we're going to keep AJ Brown here, my man. Great team, 5-0. I mean, if you really wanted to see if we could go out there and send like Raheem Mostert for Justin Jefferson on a 5-0 roster, I wouldn't fault you if you wanted to make a play like that. Henry always happy to see us, says need trade advice. 2-3 full BBR, 2 non-super flex team. We have Herbert, Bijan, Ramondre, Montgomery, Mixon, Algier, AJ Wilson, Judy, Osborne, JSN, Warren, Dobbs, Ertz, and Laporta. A very well balanced roster. I mean, we do have 4 viable running backs here. Full BBR format, what I think we would look to do if you can is possibly see if we can send maybe one of these running backs like Joe Mixon to get to Amon-Ra St. Brown, especially in a double flex full BBR format, and just balance out the team just a bit. But we have a great quarterback. Obviously, we have running backs at the very top that we really like with Bijan and Montgomery. Ramondre is a viable RB3. So I think we are chilling here. I think we are chilling unless you wanted to trade a running back for a receiver. Great team, though. Ian says 1-4, 10-team, 2 quarterback PPR. We have Hurts, Tua, Brees, White, Olave, Ridley, Goddard, Flowers. On the bench, we have HN, Watson, Gibbs, Roshan, KJ, Javonte. Any moves to make? Have an offer to send HN and White for Pacheco and Dobbs. So Dobbs is nothing at this point in a 10-team league. With Watson back, Dobbs legitimately nothing. Rashad White to Isaiah Pacheco is an upgrade. I don't think it's a massive, massive one. But fundamentally, this is going to be the type of trade that we are looking to do. The second you said you're 1-4 and we have HN down there on the bench, I'm looking to sell the long-term upside of HN to get some points in the lineup right now to remain competitive. I like the idea. I just think if we're going to be making a trade like this, we need a player back than Romeo Dobbs. If we can trade HN and White and get Pacheco and Godwin, then hell yes, let's do it. David says, I'm 2-3, 10 TPBR. Starting Purdy, Henry, Walker, Ridley, Ayuk, Kelsey, Kyron, Addison. And then on the bench, we have Burrow, JT, Pacheco, and Higgins. Any changes? I would go Joe Burrow over Brock Purdy, with Purdy having a tough matchup against Cleveland. If we're looking, I believe Addison's in that flex spot. If I would probably play Pacheco over Addison. So yeah, let's play both Burrow and Pacheco from that bench. But keep in mind, Pacheco does play on Thursday. So you're going to go ahead. You're going to look to play Pacheco at RB2 and slide Derrick Henry down to your flex just in case something happens. Cogent, happy to see us, says, what do you think? I'm 4-1. I traded Barkley and Goddard for Andrews and Ayuk. Other running backs are Pollard, Bijan, Spears, Roschon. Was afraid of the Barkley injury reoccurring later on in the offensive line play. 100% I understand where we're coming from when we're selling Saquon Barkley. I drafted a lot of Saquon Barkley, and I am very concerned as well. I don't know how excited we are to go through and get this price point of return. Like Goddard versus Ayuk, give me Ayuk. Barkley versus Andrews, I don't know about. I think it's a fair deal, and it's up to you. If you wanted to go out there and pull the trigger to get the elite level tight end, you do you. Obviously, it's a little tougher, though. I mean, when Barkley, he should be healthy this week. Jacob says 3-2 PPR. We have Hurts, Bijan, Walker, JT, AJ Brown, Ridley, Nico, Andrews, Myers, London, Evans, Stroud, Schultz. Good team, but close losses. Any moves? Really like the stack that we have with Hurts, AJ Brown. I think JT ends up expanding his role here, so I think we're going to be just fine. Really no moves. The only thing I'd say is if you could throw, say, CJ Stroud on the trade block and see if we could send like CJ Stroud and Nico Collins for a wide receiver upgrade, let's do it if we have Jalen Hurts, but by no means that's something you have to do. Now, Anto says 7-3, 10-team league, at BBR, 3 receivers, 1 flex. If you're confused, 7-3, going up against the league median as well. That's what I'm assuming. But Cousins, JT, Pacheco, Adams, Kupp, Osborne, Kelsey, James Cook. And then on the bench, you have Gibbs, Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson Jr., Quentin Johnson, Mims, JSN, Watson, Achane. AJ Brown, TJ Hawkinson for Travis Kelce, Watson. Eckler, Kittle for Cook, Kelsey. Overall thoughts. AJ Brown to Kelsey, slight downgrade. Hawkinson to Christian Watson, big time downgrade. And I'm saying this as someone who was saying to buy low on Christian Watson earlier in the year. And then Eckler to Kelsey, downgrade. Kittle to James Cook, lateral move. I honestly would rather have the AJ Brown and Hawkinson side and the Eckler and Kittle side. So if you were going to go through and make this trade, I think you can go in either direction. 3 wide receiver, happy BR format. If you wanted to go with AJ Brown, not going to fault you at all, especially as we like project to have KJ Osborne in our starting lineup. So I honestly probably would trade Travis Kelce and Christian Watson for AJ Brown, TJ Hawkinson in a league where you start 3 receivers. Jordan says just traded away Montgomery, Kirk for Achane, Devonta. Kirk to Devonta Smith, give me Devonta Smith. Montgomery to Achane, really bad. Currently 4-1. My man, you can't do it. I understand the thought process. We are thinking long-term. And for the fantasy football playoffs, maybe Achane, outproduces Montgomery. You just didn't get nearly enough value here, my friend. John coming out says, hey, Mason, happy birthday. Thank you, my man. 10 team 2 quarterback. Super flex, full BBR. We have Burrow, Ford, White, Pittman, Tyreek, Hawkinson, DJ Moore, Watson, Deshaun and Christian, Jameson, Akers, McJaleel. How should we upgrade quarterback, running back? Are we selling DJ Moore? I think we already answered this for you, my man. Be super happy to answer again. And yes, 100%. I think that's what we're going to look to do. I think the trade in a super flex league here is to go through and send DJ Moore and Deshaun Watson and see if we can get back in return a player like Josh Allen, a player like Jalen Hurts, a player like Mahomes, In reality, you're probably not going to get one of those guys. We can definitely send out the offers and make them reject us. And then when they do reject us, or if they do reject us, then we take that tier down and go start offering to like a team that has Lamar Jackson, right? But I do think that's the deal we're looking to make, my man. But thank you. Your boy Zay says, 12-team PPR, we have Hurts, Swift, Etienne, Chase, Waddle, Laporta, Myers, Lockett, London, Jeff Wilson Jr., Connor. I had traded Pierce for Waddle and Keenan for Swift. Pierce for Waddle, I like the deal in a full PPR format. Keenan Allen to DeAndre Swift, very bad one. If you were going to have to turn around and trade for another running back regardless, we probably wouldn't have even made the... I think that you should have kept Keenan Allen over DeAndre Swift. Keenan's already through his bye. You have no Mike Williams, and Keenan Allen right now is like the wide receiver 2 from a points per game perspective. Logan says, 14-team super flex, got no tight end. We have Hurts, Geno, Ramadre, Sanders, Pollard, Roshan, Abonra, Lockett, Michael Thomas, Deontay. I'm sitting at 2 and 3. Any thoughts? Happy late birthday. Appreciate you, my friend. You don't need a tight end in a 14-team super flex format. I mean, honestly, they're going to make up such a low percentage of our starting lineup output. Regardless, we're going to be chilling. I think that we just play with this team as is when we're dealing with a little bit of depth issues here with the Roshan injury, with the Miles Sanders injury, with the Deontay Johnson injury. He should be good to go week 7, but still. And then with the Amon-Ra St. Brown injury, I think we get through these injuries. And then I think maybe coming out on the other side, then at that point, if we have all our wide receiver depth and you wanted to go ahead and send like, say, Tyler Lockett or Michael Thomas and get a viable tight end, then at that point we can. But until then, I think you just want to just sit still, hold on to your depth. Let's get healthy. Redeem Worship coming out saying, Devonta Smith for Nico Collins. I feel like Collins is more safe. I would rather have Smith over Collins, but you do you. I would rather have Smith. BB Ski says, I'm close to trading Mixon and Amon-Ra for Eckler and Pittman. How's it looking? Amon-Ra for Eckler, massive upgrade. Mixon to Pittman, slight downgrade. I'm going to go with the best player. We'll take Eckler. We have Jefferson, Nico, DJ Moore, Myers, Kamara, James Cook as notable players. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's get Eckler and set up a prayer that Jefferson's back soon. Shadow says, Puka or Lamb rest of season. I'm definitely going to go ahead and take Lamb over Puka rest of season. Manoa says, just got offered Keenan for CD. We have Herbert. I think you probably want Keenan over Lamb. I mean, if you're looking at Keenan as well, this is someone that's already made it through his bye. Plus, we get that stack. Jake says, 12-team PBR double flex. Fields, Chase, Ridley, Lockett, Dell, Tony, Pierce, White, Pollard, Roshan, Zach Moss, Logan Thomas, Zach Ertz. Any moves? Maybe trade Pierce and White for a running back. So we're going to be starting, say, Fields, Chase, Ridley, White, Pollard. And then for the flex spots, we're going to go Lockett and Dameon Pierce. So honestly, I mean, I would love to go out there and say, yeah, let's go make a move like that. Let's send 2 depth pieces. Let's get an upgrade in the starting lineup. Let's treat it as if it's a, obviously, that's the default advice that we would give. If it's a 10-team league with 1 flex, is you immediately go make a 2-for-1 deal, just get an upgrade in the starting lineup. We can get backfill with quality depth. However, in a 12-team PBR double flex format, it's going to be a lot more balanced, where honestly, I think the team is sitting nicely now. I think you want to hold on to the running back depth here and probably not looking to make this trade right now, to be honest. Probably not. Okay. But now our next question coming out from, I believe, Victoria Habitacia says, 8-team PBR 4-1. Starting Cousins, Diggs, Lamb, Mostert, Montgomery, Goddard. For the flex, we're going to go Evans, Madison, Osborne, or Pittman. I think we're going to go ahead and we are going to be taking Michael Pittman here. I mean, I think you can make an argument for Mike Evans. The issue is Mike Evans dealing with the hamstring injury today, so we don't know if Evans is going to be good to go. And even if he is good to go, we don't know if he is 100%. Good matchup for Pittman, plus the fact that you are getting, I mean, probably more passing volume in this offense with Anthony Richardson not rushing the ball. Now, Creed B. Fit says Puka White for Lamb, Brian Robinson, or Roshan. Okay, so Puka to Lamb, give me Lamb, Rashad White, Brian Robinson, and Roshan. Up to you. I think it's a very fair deal. I think you make that if you want. D-Dot coming out says 12-team PBR. We have Burrow, Kyron, Jaleel, DeMicado, Lamb, Evans, Godwin. Good offered Bijan and Higgins for Lamb and Burrow. We have Love and... Oh, if this is a one quarterback format, you go to this right now. Stafford is a viable start considering the fact you have Kupp and Puka in here. So yeah, I would sell Lamb and Burrow. We would go get Bijan and Higgins for this team and then start Matthew Stafford, assuming it's a one quarterback league. Chase says trade Mostert for Myers and Godwin. I would rather have Raheem Mostert with no Devon Achane. Just the chill gamer, always happy to see us. Says happy birthday, 12-team PBR single flex. We have Lawrence, Goff, Cook, Jones, Demercado, Jeff Wilson, Amon-Ra, Ridley, Collins, Hawkinson. Just traded Stevenson and Pittman for Jones and Nico Collins. Thoughts on rest of season? Thanks. Thank you, my man. Going from Pittman to Collins, lateral move up to you. Stevenson for Aaron Jones. I think it does make a lot of sense. Really like that move for this team rest of season. Now I think we can feel comfortable at running back. Really nice that we're getting St. Brown back in as well. But yeah, I mean, with Aaron Jones, I know he hasn't really shown us much this year because he has been injured. And I know the Packers don't look great, but they look a hell of a lot better than what you have in New England. Sloth says, who to start this week for running back in the flex? Mostert, Bijan, Eckler, Pacheco. Really like all these guys, but you got to go Bijan and Eckler every week regardless. Steven says 18 PPR format. We have Diggs, Adams, Waddle, Watson, Pickens, Zay, Eckler, Etienne, Kyron, Walker, Hall, Achane. Any trade suggestions? 8-team format. Everything we're looking to do is 2-for-1, 3-for-1 deal to get an upgrade where we can. We have so much running back depth where if we can send, say, Breece Hall and Jalen Waddle, or maybe Breece Hall and the tight end that we have right now and go get to someone like Travis Kelce. If you have like Hall and Kittle and go get to someone like Kelce, that'd make a lot of sense. Or if we have like, say, I don't know, Jared Goff as our quarterback, we can go like Kenneth Walker and Jared Goff and go get to like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts in an 8-team league. That is what we'd be looking to do. Peter says, Abby BR, Myers, Gabe Davis, or Osborne. Thanks, my man. No, thank you. We are going to go ahead. We are going to be taking Jacoby Myers, even if we expect him to fall back slowly with a healthy Adams. But real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we are one like away from hitting 400 likes on this live stream. Less than 10% of y'all have hit that like button. So please go down there, drop a like if you have not done so already. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to be getting a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And Underdog's going to be hooking you up if you're new to Underdog Fantasy with a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em for tomorrow night, more than less than half a total yard. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, because it was our birthday this week, Underdogs are going to everybody up who uses promo code FLOG with an extra Justin Herbert special pick of more than less than half a total yard for Monday night. So please make sure you take advantage of that while you can. But Jacob coming out saying 10-team non-PBR, 1, 2, 3, 0. 4-1, we have Allen, Etienne, Pollard, Breece, Tyreek, Devonta, Amari, Watson, Zay, Jamison, Kmet. I'm assuming you're meaning that we don't have to start a tight end here unless I'm mistaken. When you say 1, 2, 3, 0. But what would you package for any of JT, Kelce, Pacheco, Ridley? That's who I'm being offered right now. I think Jonathan Taylor would be the most appealing buy in a non-PBR format if we could get him. I think if we could send maybe like Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor will be up to you there. I think maybe we prefer JT just because I expect him to be on a better team in a better offense. The issue is some of these secondary wide receivers that we have, guys like Smith, Amari, Watson, Flowers, I actually think are maybe a little bit undervalued in fantasy right now. If you wanted to send maybe like Jamison Williams, Zay Flowers, and see if we can go get Calvin Ridley, then let's do it, you know? But in reality, we're probably in a spot where we're having to sit on our hands. Now, Jonathan says Smith or Waddle rest of season. I think that they are literally neck and neck. If you look at our rest of season rankings, it's a coin flip. It is up to you. I could give you 50 answers for Smith, 50 answers for Waddle. I probably prefer Waddle, but it's so close. Chicken Poe, happy to see you. Love the profile pic, says. We have Hurts, Tua, just traded for Lamar, Saquon, Gibbs, Breece. We did trade him for all of these guys. You just traded Jalen Hurts and Tua, for Lamar, Saquon, Gibbs, Brees, Lamb, Pittman, Kirk, Waller, Addison. Oh, you didn't send Jalen Hurts or Tua. You just traded for these guys in general. Okay, so this is our team. I'm looking to trade away Tua or Lamar, going for A.J. Brown or Tyreek. What should we do? It's a super flex format. I think we should go to that Anthony Richardson team. We should go to the Deshaun Watson team. And we should go, hey, man, I'll give you Lamar Jackson for A.J. Brown or Tyreek Hill. I'll give you Tua for A.J. Brown or Tyreek Hill. See what they say. I'm going to operate under the assumption that they're going to reject you. And then at that point, we'll probably come back and go, okay, well, I'll throw in Christian Kirk. I'll give you Lamar and Christian Kirk for A.J. Brown. I'll give you Lamar and Christian Kirk for Tyreek Hill. And then honestly, in a super flex format, you're in the position of power, especially if you look at the fact that you've had those quarterback injuries as well. I think you should be able to find something you like. Tyler says Mahomes, Cup, Sanders for Barkley, Ayuk, Burrow. Cup to Barkley, give me Cup. Mahomes to Burrow, give me Mahomes. Sanders, Ayuk, give me Ayuk. We're going to go with the Mahomes and Cup side. Black Jesus is always happy to see us. Says, not sure if he answered this yet, but we picked up Mercado, but saw Ingram was listed as RB1. Ingram's still available. Should we pick him up? I think that you should roster both running backs. If I had to make a bet on who's going to be the guy this week, I'm going to go DeMercado, but in reality, I have no idea. I don't think anybody knows. And I think that you are just trying to roster both of them if you can, see what happens this week, and get some clarity going forward. Okay, let me refresh this. And yeah, we turned off Super Chats just for a bit. I will be turning on Super Chats once we catch up on all the questions. But we're backed up on questions just a bit, ladies and gentlemen. So just give me a little time here. And let me pull these up on the other page. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe... Ooh, why is this not working for us? Ooh, are we going to have to reset this? There we go. Here we are. But Christian says Zay Flowers and Terry McLaurin for T. Higgins. And I think Zay Flowers has more value at this point. Now, Adrian says... Amonra, Puka, or Pacheco. We got to start two. It's a full BBR format. By the way, love the content. Really appreciate you, my man. Obviously, we would love to start Pacheco with how good his matchup is going up against Denver. But in a full BBR league in particular, we probably have to go with both of the wide receivers. Probably have to go both receivers. Now, Remy says 12 team, have BBR 5-0, and somehow won the last 2 weeks with Dak at quarterback. Hell yes. Dak again this week, or do we snag Baker or Dobbs? Dak's output sucks. Yeah, last week you went up against the toughest defense in the NFL. Should be a much better spot. You actually have Vegas Sportsbook saying the Dallas Cowboys are going to score a ton of points this week. So we're going to go Dak. Michael says 12-team full BBR 2 and 3. We have Lawrence, Eckler, DeMercado, Lamb, Smith, Judy, JSN, Reynolds, Foreman, Miller, Ferguson, Higbee. Connor on the IR. Should we stay put? I would love if we could find another RB. Like, we just don't have a second running back that we can actually play. If you could sell James Conner for literally anybody that we can play in the short term, I think we would go ahead and do it, because Conner falls in that bucket where it's difficult to see him rushing himself back with how bad his team is. Now, Jerry says 10-team full BBR 5-0. We have Herbert, AJ, Chase, Kamara, Kyron, Goddard, Waddle, Brees, Jones, Javonte, Sutton, Russ, Palmer, Jameson. Want to trade for Adams, Kelsey, Brian Robinson. He's 1-4. What are your thoughts? So if you were going to make a deal for Adams, I think you could go ahead and you could see if we could sell. Actually, I don't know if we have a deal that makes sense for Adams. Kelsey would be offering Waddle and Goddard to see if we can get to Kelsey. We don't have enough running back depth to do it. If you want to sell, make a trade for Brian Robinson, we could potentially go out there and try to sell Sutton and Palmer and Javonte, and go get to Brian Robinson. And I don't see a deal that makes sense for Adams there. Victoria says, follow up, do I start Cousins or Burrow this week? Can everybody spam the chat? Who would you play this week? Joe Burrow or Kirk Cousins with no Justin Jefferson? You have Cousins going up against Chicago. You have Burrow going up against Seattle. I have these two quarterbacks ranked back-to-back in my rankings at 10 and 11. Both as low in quarterback ones this week. So I do think that it's going to be up to y'all. But are you going to go Cousins or Joe Burrow this week at quarterback? Please let me know in the live chat. And as we wait, let me pull up this next one. Burrow, Kirk. Burrow. Either one, Burrow. It looks like everybody going ahead and taking Joe Burrow here. That's how I have it ranked. I have Joe Burrow at 10, Cousins at 11, but I'm fine if you want to go either or. Now, Ashton says 12-team PPR, 3 receivers, 1 flex. We have Goff, Etienne, Eckler, Kupp, Keenan, Puka, Logan Thomas, Godwin. And then on the bench, we have Watson, Gibson, Hall, Hollywood, Mike Wilson. Any moves? I don't necessarily think we have any trades that we're going to make. All I would say is if you do have Mike Evans playing this week, I think we want to go ahead and play Breece Hall over Chris Godwin in the flex. Now, Perk Nowinski says 12-team PPR 3 and 2. We have Stroud, Breece, Ramondre, Chase, Olave, Judy, Laporta. And then on the bench, we have Watson, Dell, Warren, Hubbard, Boyd, Mims, JSN. Just lost H-Chan and Anthony Richardson. Should we stay put or should we look to make a move? I would love to upgrade quarterback if we can, but in reality, when we lose Achane as well, we just don't have the firepower. We're having to start Ramondre Stevenson right now. We have some of the depth down here on the bench, guys that could be viable, like Christian Watson coming out of the bye week. So I don't think we have to panic by any means. I just think that we can't afford to go out there and get that quarterback upgrade, and we're probably in a spot where we need to be going through and just churning the waiver wire. Nick says, with Connor out, should we start Jeff Wilson or Salvin Ahmed? Ahmed. I know we always mispronounce Ahmed, but we are going to go with Jeff Wilson, assuming he is back. Aiden says, Walker, Stevenson, London for Kamara, Pacheco, Myers. Walker to Pacheco downgrade. Stevenson to Kamara upgrade. London to Myers upgrade. I think Walker's probably the best player in the deal. If it's a full BBR format, I wouldn't mind if you want to make it, though. Up to you. Ramsey says, full BBR, 3 receiver, 1 flex. We have Kupp, Collins, Kirk, Davis, and Hollywood. Who am I starting? And also who goes in the flex? Okay, so essentially we have 5 guys. We have to bench 1. I think that I would go ahead. I probably bench Hollywood Brown here. I mean, if you look at our rankings, it's going to come down between Hollywood Brown and Gabe Davis. I have Hollywood at 32. I have Gabe Davis at 34. I guess actually in a full BBR format, we'll go Hollywood because of the target volume. I mean, if it's a non-BBR league, we go Gabe Davis for the touchdown upside. But what's interesting is Gabe Davis is the wide receiver 13 so far this season from a points per game perspective. Now, Big Body Bird says trade Kyron Olave for Breece Keenan. We have Justin Herbert. Kyron to Breece. I think you make an argument for it being a downgrade, an argument for it being an upgrade. Olave to Keenan is a massive upgrade. So yes, we go ahead and make that move. Now, Jim Bean says, who should we start PBR, Kmet or Pitts? If you look at our rankings this week, it is sad to admit, but I do have Cole Kmet at 9, Pitts at 11. I lost Jefferson. My receivers so far are St. Brown, Lamb, Josh Downs. My running backs are Saquon, Aaron Jones, James Cook, Montgomery, and Swift. Should we trade James Cook for a wide receiver? Yes, I actually think that we should do it. I mean, I would say wait until we at least have Saquon Barkley back, but it looks like Barkley will be back this week, and I'm sure Aaron Jones will be playing coming out of the bye next week as well. So, yeah, I think we have to. Brandon says 12-team PPR format. My squad is Hurts, Montgomery, Robinson, Amon-Ra, Nico, Hawkinson. The flex is, I guess, Jerome Ford. That's gross, my friend. Someone offered Addison for Ford straight across. What should I do? If this is for our flex spot, I would rather have Jordan Addison. I mean, Jerome Ford was a sell-high guy for us back after the Tennessee game, just because I don't view him as like a must-start player every single week. I think he does split the backfield here. And I don't think he's good enough to overcome a running back by committee type situation. So if I don't think he's good enough to overcome a running back by committee type situation, and that's clearly what it's trending towards, they just get Addison. Roy says traded Miles and Stevenson for Olave Javonte. Miles to Javonte, who cares? Stevenson for Olave. I'd probably rather have Olave at this point. Menace says 10-team full BBR format. Trade Addison for Garrett Wilson. Happy birthday. Thank you, my man. I probably would have rather have Garrett Wilson long-term, knowing that Jefferson may be back at some point. Tyler says Kyron Swift or Montgomery. We are going to be going with Montgomery, my friend, especially if Gibbs doesn't play this week. Crispy Bacon says trade Brees and Lockett for Andrews and Boyd. We have Lamar and been punting tight ends. Boyd's a nothing burger, or Brees and Cup for Pollard and St. Brown. 8-team league. I would much prefer trading Brees and Cup for Pollard and St. Brown. It's a league with 3 flex spots, so tight end's going to be a little bit less important, even though it is an 8-team format. Now, Kyle coming out saying 12-team PBR double flex. 5-0. We have Tua, Russ, Swift, Mixon, Moss, Reynolds, Amon-Ra, Nico, Lockett, Gabe Davis, McLaurin, Rondale, Zach Ertz, and Kelsey. Any trades? I don't necessarily have any trades we would make with this team. I mean, I would just say a couple things. One, I mean, if we have Tua, if we have Travis Kelsey, I think we can afford to let go of the backup quarterback. I think we can afford to let go of the backup tight ends and instead prioritize running back and wide receiver upside. I think maybe that would make a little more sense, but yeah, great team. Very well balanced team as well. Antonio says we have Mahomes, AJ, Keenan, Saquon, Aaron Jones, Pacheco, Andrews. Got rid of Mostert and Dobbs last week for Jones. W or no, 12-team. If you would have asked me last week, I'd said, oh, you traded Raheem Mostert for Aaron Jones. Great move. But obviously, now that HN's down, it's a little bit of a different story. And I'd probably rather have Mostert at this point. Probably rather have Mostert. Now, Jimmy says 12-team, 3 wide receiver, single flex, 2 and 3. We have Lawrence, Stroud, Gibbs, Connor, A.J. Brown, Cup, Puka, Andrews, Elijah. On the bench, we have Algier, Tutu, Chark, Dell, Burks, Foreman. What moves do I make? Do we trade Puka or Cup for running backs? I don't think so. I don't think we have to do anything now that we have cut back. And if we can't do that, which is very possible that we can't do, then instead we probably look to go ahead and instead we probably look to sell Andrews for a running back you can be excited about and then just stream the tight end position. Now, 2-out record says 8-team league. We have Hurts, Eckler, AJ, Cooper, Kelsey, Kamara. Got offered Etienne for Hollywood and Kamara. It just traded Brees, Thielen, and Puka for Austin Eckler. Great Eckler deal in an 8-team league. And an 8-team league, I'd probably rather have Etienne as well. I mean, just depth is not going to matter at all there. Now, Jeffrey says, offered Amari and Rashad White for Aaron Jones and DK Metcalf. Amari, DK, Amari if Watson's fully healthy, DK if he's not. White, Aaron Jones, you'd rather have Aaron Jones at this point. So yeah, we're probably going to go ahead and take Aaron Jones and DK Metcalf, especially 5-0 roster. I think when you're trading for Metcalf, I guess it's the same with Amari, but you're also getting that player through the bye week. Yeah, I mean, at this point, we were expecting the Deshaun Watson shoulder injury just to be fine, for him to be good to go, but clearly it's not the case. Jeb says, JT or Osborne this week. Also, happy late birthday. Thank you, my man. You're definitely going to go JT over Osborne. And then Kevin says 2 and 3 PBR double flex. Baker, Pollard, Ford, Adams, Lamb, Ridley, Downs. And then on the bench, we have Brian Robinson, Roschon, Anthony Richardson, Deontay, Tajee. One a running back, any trades. Adams, Ford, Roschon for Eckler. Double flex format, selling the wide receiver depth is going to be a little bit tougher to do. But honestly, I think 100% we're going to be making that deal. Go ahead and go get Austin Eckler. I mean, Eckler is a top 5 asset going forward. I did not like Eckler coming into the season based on the additions to the wide receiver room, based off us expecting Keenan Allen and Mike Williams to be healthy and that negatively impacting Eckler's target share. But no, I mean, at this point, you have to go through and you have to bump Eckler and no Mike Williams. Giovanni coming out says 12-team full BBR format. 2 and 3, we have Allen, Jacobs, JT, Chase, Hopkins, Lockett, Kittle. And then on the bench, we have Watson, McLaurin, Palmer, Rice, Javonte Spears. Who should I look to trade for? Thanks. So thank you, my man. It's a great team. I mean, right now, these wide receiver names aren't hot as depth pieces. If we could send like Christian Watson and Kittle to go get to TJ Hawkinson, I think that'd make a lot of sense. In reality, we're probably going to have to wait until we get a spike from either Christian Watson or Terry McLaurin and then be able to take some trade value from him. Mason says just traded Roschon, Watson, Mostert, Ford, Robinson for Waddle and Eckler. What are your thoughts? Oh, phenomenal deal. I mean, I would do it straight up for Eckler. Other receivers are Nico Collins. Yeah, a great team. We are pairing up Eckler and Tony Pollard. Eckler is a top 5 asset in fantasy football. Dylan says, hey, got a buddy that needs advice. He has Puka, Kyron, Cup. Who should he trade? Everyone in the league values their players highly. So what do you think? I understand a lot of people see that, oh crap, I have 3 Rams on my team. I have Cup, I have Puka, I have Kyron Williams. I'm all in on this offense. And that is a fine thing to be. To go through and make one concentrated bet. Maybe you have, say, a low ceiling when things go wrong. But if this team can get back to being a top 5 offense, then at that point you're crushing on all fronts. So I actually say we'd probably be in a decent spot to go ahead and keep those guys. Now, Evans says we have Pollard, Achane, Pierce, Kelsey, Higgins, Thielen, DJ Deontay. If you want to trade Puka for Lamb, you do that, but still. Got 2 trade offers. DJ Moore, Thielen for Swift and DK. DJ Moore, Achane for Hall and Smith. Would definitely rather have Hall and Smith over DJ Moore and Achane. Yeah, so let's definitely go. Let's send DJ Moore. Let's get Devonta Smith. Let's send Devon Achane. Let's go get Breece Hall. It's a no-brainer. Definitely get an upgrade at running back. Possibly an upgrade at receiver. We don't know yet. Okay. Frank says 10-team single flex 3 and 2. We have Lawrence, CMC, Jefferson, Jeff Wilson, Keenan, DJ Moore, Hawkinson, Flowers, Jaleel, Logan Thomas. Got offered Hurts, Debo for Lawrence and Hawkinson. What are your thoughts? I think this is a team that we are highly incentivized to go get the elite level quarterback and the elite level tight end. I hate selling TJ Hawkinson, but I think it is a fair price point to do it. And I think we want to go get Jalen Hurts and Debo Samuel. Too Rich coming out says Fields, CJ Lawrence should trade Hall for Hurts, Herbert. I don't know what the spot is. If it is a super flex format, then yes, I would trade Breece Hall for Justin Herbert or Jalen Hurts. Now, Kirby coming out saying 10-team BBR, double wide receiver, double flex. 1 and 4, we have Tua, Eckler, JT, Keenan, Kupp, Ingram, Ridley, Godwin. Love, Ford, Collins, Rice, Smith, Jones. Any traits? Okay. No trades. I would just say at this point, if we have Tua and we have Jordan Love, I would rather be picking up another running back, just someone in the Tajay Spears mold, where if you were to have an injury to the guy in front of him, then at that point, he does turn into a weekly starter for us. I'd be dropping Jordan Love going into his bye week and instead trying to roster another running back like that. Inham says 10-team BBR 1 and 4. Would you send Palmer and James Cook for T. Higgins? Not on a 1 and 4 team. You need points now, not later. We have Hurts, Breece, Walker, Amon-Ra, Addison, Kelsey, London. Yeah, and especially start James Cook over London in the flex spot this week. And we can't be thinking of a long-term trade on a 1-4 roster. You got to be thinking, how do I win right now? Now, JT coming out saying, what's up, Mason? 12-team single flex PPR league. We have Watson, Adams, Debo, Kamara, Madison, Kelsey, Myers, Michael Thomas, Jameson, Johnston, Ahmed, Aaron Jones, Keaton Mitchell, Jamal Williams, Achane, Deshaun. Who do I drop? Love on my bench. Should we drop Deshaun? I would drop Love before I drop Deshaun. I would drop Keaton Mitchell. The thing is, like, how many IR slots do we have, right? I don't know if we can put Jamal, Achane, and Keaton Mitchell on the IR. I'm assuming we only have 2 IR slots. And if you have one of these guys taking up a bench spot, I would probably go through and drop Keaton Mitchell. And then Jordan Love, in my mind, like, maybe he bounces back. The issue is if you were to go through and if you were to start Jordan Love, like, when would you start him? He's on bye this week. Drop Jordan Love, go get a quarterback to start this week if Watson misses. Because I still want to say Watson has more long-term upside. Okay. Brandon says, was offered Bijan and Lamb for Diggs and Cook. Oh, I'm going to go Bijan and Lamb here easily. I mean, Diggs, Bijan, up to you. Lamb way over Cook. Adams and Allen are my wide receivers. Other running backs are Ramondre. Yeah, we need running back. Go get Bijan. TT says flex help. Ramondre or Rashee Rice. Ramondre is horrendous, but you still play Ramondre. Seahawks says we have Lawrence, Kupp, Olave, Bijan, Achane, Logan Thomas, Sanders, Richardson, Watson, Higgins, Ford, Roshan. Players to trade for that give me the most points now. I am 8th in a 12-team league. If you're looking for someone to trade for right now that maybe you're afraid about his long-term viability, but you know you're getting a ton of points for in the short term, and you can get a discount on those short-term points right now because of the possible long-term concerns, I think we probably want to go ahead and we probably want to go after like Kyren Williams. If you wanted to make a play there, especially if we could take like, say, Devon Achane and a small piece and go get Kyren. Now, Regan says 4-1 full BBR 10-team double flex. We have Allen, CMC, Walker, Kupp, Puka, Ayuk, Amari, Komet. The bench, we have London, Sanders, Gabe Davis, Moss, Roshan. Who can we target in any trades? Maybe sell Puka or Ayuk. Double flex, full BBR format. I actually probably want to be holding on to these wide receivers. I mean, especially if we go down to the bench, we don't have a ton of depth. I think that this is a phenomenal team specifically for this format. If this was a single flex league, I would 100% agree with you. I think that we would want to make that play. But I think you've already set yourself up in a phenomenal situation for this format in particular. Young Kyle says 18 PBR 2 and 3. We have Lamar, Etienne, Cook, Jamar, Amari, Andrews. And then on the bench, we have Herbert, Waller, Dobbs, Reynolds, Roshan, DeMarcado. Was offered Olave and Ford for James Cook. I would go ahead and take Olave. The issue is, I guess, 8-team league. We still have easy guys to drop. Drop Reynolds. Drop DeMarcado if we think Keontae Ingram's the guy. Drop Romeo Dobbs. Even with it being an 8-team league, we have drops we can make. So let's go get Olave and Ford. AP says Amari, Smith, Addison, Brees. We got to start 2 this week. We're going to be going with Brees and Smith. I think you can make an argument for Addison over Smith if you wanted to, though. Jaron says thoughts on DeMarcado with Ingram returning. I have no idea who it's going to be. I think it can be either one. Ingram's listed as the #1 guy in the depth chart right now. Ingram has been historically inefficient, and at the same time, he is coming back from an injury. Jason says I traded Moss and Piggins for Jonathan Taylor. Phenomenal deal. 10 out of 10, my man. Steve says 4-1 PBR. Should I trade Pacheco for Gabe Davis? Hell to the no. I mean, we're already loaded at running back, wide receiver. We're loaded as well. No, if you're trading Pacheco, you're going to be charging a premium, especially going into such a nice matchup where he's going to explode in value. Isaac says, would you accept Tua and Addison for Jalen Hurts? I would rather have Jalen Hurts unless it's a super deep league. Joe says, flex 1, Osborne, Justice Hill, Judy, or Sutton. I'm going to go Judy here, but you can do what you want. I mean, obviously, you can make an argument, oh, they're trying to trade him, so maybe do they highlight him this week? Now, Big Druzy says 12-team full BBR 4-1. Made moves. I have Lawrence, Kyren, Etienne, Eckler, JT, Tyreek, Ayuk, Andrews, Myers, Nico Collins. Do I get a quarterback, wide receiver, or sit on a stacked team? Obviously, running back is absurd. We have the elite level tight end already as well. I don't think you need to do something. If you could send like Kyron Williams and Lawrence and go get a top 3 quarterback, go get Allen, Mahomes, Hurts, might as well send the offer and see what happens. If it's rejected, no harm, no foul. We're still sitting with a stacked team. But I mean, that's a loaded team where you can afford to make a move like that. Brian says, would you trade Palmer for Jay Williams? I'm assuming, is this Jameson? Someone is offering, or should we push for a trade like Joshua Palmer, Zach Moss for Aaron Jones? Need major running back help. Oh, so Joshua Palmer for Javonte. If you need major running back help, I'm fine doing either or. I know Palmer is like viable as a wide receiver 3 right now, but in the long term, if we end up getting Quentin Johnson expanding his role, Palmer may be nothing. Now, Kate says 12-team at BBR, trade Evans and Madison for Ridley and White. Now we have Goff, Eckler, Etienne, Lamb, Ridley, Laporta, Moore. And then on the bench, we have McLaurin, Jameson, Spears, Charbonnet, Dell, Jaleel, Richardson sitting on the IR 2 and 3, and he moves. I would do this. If we're 2 and 3, we need to go out there and get some points in the starting lineup right now. Mike Evans dealing with the hamstrings, more so a long-term piece. I think going from Madison to White, you probably prefer White. So yeah, I think we go ahead. I think we make that play. Emilio says, Chase for Hill, is it worth it? I'd rather have Tyreek Hill. Jason says, DJ Moore and Love for Henry and Debo. What are your thoughts? I'd rather have Derrick Henry and Debo Samuel over DJ Moore. Jordan Love's nothing. You could cut him if you wanted. Mark says, I just traded Swift and Hopkins for Lamb, Jefferson, and Spears. Was this a good deal? Swift to Lamb, up to you. I mean, Hopkins for Jefferson, no brainer. I think you got so much upside in the long term. I think it's a good deal. Sean coming out saying 4-1, 12-team PPR. We have Herbert, Saquon Gibbs, Godwin, Terry, Kittle, Gabe Davis. And then on the bench, we have Jefferson, Pickens, JSN, Watson, Jameson, Amari, Sharp, free agents, Spears, Chuba, Jeb Wilson, Deonta Foreman, Ingram, Downs, Rice, Reynolds. Interesting spot. I would love if we can slide Jefferson to the IR so we can pick up another guy here. I mean, go pick up like Chuba Hubbard. Outside of that, if we could sell like Pickens and Gabe Davis and go get to a wide receiver like Olave Smith or Waddle and then be able to pick up that same running back off the waiver wire by opening up a roster spot that way, I think that would make sense as well. I mean, that's a great waiver wire. Ethan says 0-5, so we are in win or go home mode essentially. 12-team redraft, full BBR, single flex. Richardson, you got to sell him. Stroud, Watson, Bijan, Swift, Javonte, Ford, Lamb, Ridley, Higgins, Logan Thomas, and Kincaid. So essentially, you have to take any long-term value that's not giving us points right now and send it to get any upgrade. If you can send Kincaid and Higgins and go get a viable wide receiver and go get Olave, let's do it. If you can send Richardson and Stroud and go get a quarterback that's putting up points right now, go get someone like, say, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, you got to do it. These rookies with a long-term upside, these injured players with a long-term upside, sell them at a loss. Get something in the lineup right now. We got to start putting wins together. We got to go to 1-5. Steve says, at BBR, Addison, JT Moss, and Garrett Wilson. We need 2 flex spots. We're going to be going half BBR format. It's a lot tougher. I think we probably go Garrett Wilson, JT, or Garrett Wilson, Jordan Addison. I am going to be starting Jonathan Taylor over Zach Moss this week. I do think that both of them have a role, but I think I still prefer JT. Michael says 12-team super flex. We need running back depth. We have Pierce, Kyron, Saquon. Should we trade any of these wide receivers for running backs? Downs for Brian Robinson. Oh, hell yes, I'd do that. Flowers for Alexander Madison and Christian Kirk. Or Christian Kirk for Kenneth Walker. Or Kirk Cousins, I'm assuming. I don't know. Kirk Cousins for Kenneth Walker, super flex format. Very tough, very dependent on your QBs. Flowers for Madison, probably not. Downs for Brian Robinson. If we need running back depth, that is the perfect deal to make. Now, CBT Superbad says, 10 TPBR 3-2. We have Tua, Connor, Aaron Jones, Jefferson, AJ Cup, Hawkinson. On the bench, we have Osborne, Elijah, Amari, Roshan. Haven't made any trades yet. Any advice moving forward? Much love, brother. Appreciate you, my man. I don't think you need to make trades with this team. We just have to be a waiver wire freak, my man. You got to go through and you have to churn this waiver wire as much as you can. We're sitting 3-2, so we have some flexibility. Say over the next 4 weeks, you have no Connor, you have no Jefferson. we go 1-3. We go 1-3 over the next 4 weeks. Then we're sitting at 4-5 and hopefully getting these guys back in. But in reality, if we can just hit the waiver wire hard and hopefully solve that hole that way, and then get these guys in their long-term upside back, I think maybe that's a little bit more advantageous. Go Bill says, if Evans is out, do we start Godwin over Olave? Yes, we would if Evans is out. Spectre says, full BBR start to Etienne, Kyron, and Mostert. Probably Etienne and Mostert with no Achane. I mean, I would love to get Kyron in, though. Probit says Stevenson, Smith, or Jeff Wilson Jr. at the flex. Can't start Jeff Wilson Jr. this week. We will go to Devonta Smith here. Now, real quick. Actually, we're going to have to refresh this to keep bringing these up. And as I do this, please, if you have not done so already, ladies and gentlemen, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Less than 10% of y'all have hit that like button. We have live streamed every single day since April. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK. You're going to get a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. Plus, if you are new to Underdog Fantasy, a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em more than less than half a total yard. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, because it was our birthdays this week, Underdogs are getting everybody up. Use promo code FLOCK with an additional special pick'em more than less than half a total yard for Monday night. So please make sure you're taking advantage of that. Super happy that we were able to get all of that for y'all. But let's swing this back around. And our next question coming out from Brandon says, was offered Bijan and Lamb for Diggs and Cook. We actually answered this earlier, my man. Only running backs are Amadre, Connor, Keenan, and Adams, some other receivers. I'm 2 and 3. Should we pull the trigger? I think we answered this earlier. If we didn't, hell yes. Let's trade Diggs, Bijan, same tier. Give me CeeDee Lamb easily over James Cook. Let's go Bijan and Lamb there. Now, Patrick says 10-team standard league. My running backs are weak. We have Allen, Brees, Sanders, Javonte, Moss, and James Conner. We have Chase Olave, DK, Ayuk, Andrews. We need advice on trading for a running back. So I agree, running back's very bad. I think we take one of these wide receivers like our wide receiver 4 here, and we see if we can package him with Miles Sanders to go get a viable running back. We can start from week to week perspective. If you can send Ayuk in a running back and go get like Jonathan Taylor, I think that would be a no-brainer. Go get Kyron Williams. Go get DeAndre Swift. Go get Joe Mixon. Go get Raheem Mostert. If you want to send Brandon Ayuk for Raheem Mostert on a team really struggling at running back, I think that would make sense. Now, Larcostic says 10-team BBR 3 and 2. We have Fields, Diggs, DJ, Lamb, Madison, Brian Robinson, Laporta, Flowers, Higgins. And then on the bench, we have Ford, Watson, Sanders, Charbonnet, Jameson, Gibbs. Should we trade either Miles or Madison with Lamb for Pacheco? Happy belated, Bo. Bro, I really appreciate you. Completely understand the thought process here where I agree running back's not strong for us. And it would make sense for us to go out there and trade for an RB. But I will just say, you're overpaying. I mean, you could see CeeDee Lamb easily be better than Isaiah Pacheco rest of season in a full PPR format. So yeah, I'm fine with the idea. You just have to find a much more reasonable price. We're not going to be trading like Lamb and a running back for Pacheco, even though Pacheco should crush this week in the matchup. Christian says 12-team double flex PPR. We have Lamar, Montgomery, Eckler. Lamar, Montgomery, Saquon, Ridley, Amon-Ra, Waller, Brees, Downs, Jeff Wilson Jr., Warren, Reynolds, Henry, Deontay, Achane. I really hate my tight ends situation. Do you agree? How do we get to Kelsey? I think it would have been much easier to get to Kelsey if we had Achane healthy. If we had Achane healthy, then at that point, I think we could have easily taken one of these depth running backs and sent them with our tight end to go get an upgraded tight end. I know this is not the question you were looking for, and I know this is not the answer that you want to hear. This is not the answer you want to hear, but you are in a fine spot. I agree your tight end position is gross. And if you are in a league where you start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, it's a 10-team format where it's easy to find wide receivers to start. It's easy to find running backs to start. I would 100% agree. My initial thought is we got to sell one of these receivers. We have to go out there and we have to get some help at tight end. However, 12-team PPR double flex format, tight end is going to make up a smaller percentage of our starting lineup output, be a little bit harder to find running back, wide receiver depth pieces. So we actually probably do not look to trade for a tight end there. Now, PG13 says trade Keenan Tua for Hurts and Devonta Smith. I think we keep Keenan. If it wasn't for the Mike Williams news, I would do it. But, I mean, Keenan Allen also has gone through his bye. Hospital Mike says, couldn't get Cup for DJ Moore, Rashad White. Stated he wanted a running back one. Would you offer the same trade for CeeDee Lamb? Okay. I am fine with it if you want to. If you are scared with CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jones going back and forth, I'm not going to fault you if you want to avoid that situation. I mean, obviously, you had CeeDee Lamb going out there on Twitter today, tweeting out LOL, doing his wide receiver cryptic tweets. I think that this is going to be a wild situation that we have with a couple of these players going forward. I mean, all these guys that were drafted in 2020. Now, CJ says 12-team PBR, 4-1. We have Lamar, HN, Kyron, AJ, Tyreek, Waller, Ayuk, Stevenson. Should I trade AJ for JT and Olave? Then trade Stevenson and Olave for CeeDee Lamb. Okay. So we would essentially be trading AJ Brown, Ramondre Stevenson for Jonathan Taylor and CeeDee Lamb. I am so out on Ramondre Stevenson at this point that I think you can go ahead and make this move. Ramondre Stevenson is so gross that if you wanted to do it, sure. Go ahead and send it. Now, Connor says Fields, Watson, Ramondre for Abonra, Aaron Jones, Michael Thomas. Then we start Stroud. Ramondre to Aaron Jones, give me Jones. Watson and Michael Thomas, give me Watson, not the biggest deal in the world. Fields to Abonra, St. Brown, I definitely would rather have St. Brown. So I think this is a good price point. It's a good way to get out of Ramondre. Let's do it. The Credit Genius is full BBR. We have Evans, Diggs, Puka, Myers, Osborne, Palmer, Debo, Bijan, Moss, Sanders, Foreman. Got offered Swift for Puka. What are your thoughts? Should I try to target someone else? I need running back depth. He has Kyron and Jacobs as well. I'm fine if you wanted to do this. If you wanted to go ask for Jacobs, if it's a full BBR format with Jacobs' involvement as a receiver, you can do that as well. Obviously, with Puka, you'd expect the target share to be a little bit less when you have Kupp going forward. I mean, this is a team that definitely needs a running back too, but at the same time, I mean, I guess you have Debo to slide in. You have Myers as well. And so we have enough firepower at wide receiver. I think you can go ahead and do this with this roster, my man. I don't want to come out here and say like, oh yeah, you're making out like a bandit. Phenomenal deal. But still, I think it's fine. Now, let me swing this around real quick. I don't know if we're going to be able to, we're pretty much all caught up here. So I don't know if we're going to be able to keep showing these on the screen, but let me see. Davey the Goat says, please keep up the hard work. It's appreciated, my man. No, thank you. 10-team double flex. We have Lamar, Puka, Pittman, CMC, Kamara, Andrews, St. Brown, Wilson, Gabe Davis, Evans, Myers, Ford, Sanders, Stafford. Any moves? We are 4-1. Ooh, I'm okay. I think maybe if we could see send like Matthew Stafford, Garrett Wilson, and go get an upgrade at wide receiver, Matthew Stafford, Jacoby Myers, because we have Lamar to start every single week regardless. It just depends. Like, will someone understand the value that Stafford has now that you have cut back in? Like, if you look at Vegas projections right now, they're projecting like the Los Angeles Rams to be a top, I want to say, 5 offense this week. So if you could get some of that value out of Matthew Stafford, that's like the one move that you could look to make when we have Lamar here. But got to pull this up. That is awesome, Waterbird. Let me know how you like it. Let me know how you like it, my man. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Tingley, who says 2-3, 10-team BBR. We have Lawrence, Kelsey, Puka, Smith, Flowers, Lockett, Dell, Kamara, Etienne, Pacheco, H.N., Roschon, Jeff Wilson Jr. Thoughts and improvements? Any advice? Happy birthday, man. Thank you so much. Great team. I wish if H.N. was healthy, it would be very easy to say, let's go out there and let's get an elite level quarterback. If we could send a depth running back and go get an elite level QB, I think that'd make a lot of sense. In reality, with the HN injury, we're probably not going to be able to now. And we're probably going to be sitting on our hands. But yeah, if H.N. was healthy, then we could go through and send like Pacheco and Lawrence to try to go get Hurts. Now, our next question coming out from Chris, who says, full BBR, do I trade Diggs, Reynolds, Zay for Eckler and Ayuk? Diggs to Eckler, give me Eckler. Reynolds and Zay for Ayuk, give me Ayuk. Yeah, let's do it. We have Olave, Amari, Deontay, Tank, Gibbs, and then Kyron Connor. Yeah, so we lost Connor. Yeah, we probably have to make that move. Sayil says, trade away Godwin and Moss for Raheem Mostert. If you need a running back, completely fine with this, with the Devon Achane injury. Keep in mind, the first 3 weeks this season, Raheem Mostert was the #1 overall player in fantasy football. Not the #1 overall running back in fantasy, the #1 overall player. Now, Crypto Raptor coming out says 12-team PBR double flex. 1 and 4. We have Lamar, CMC, Kamara, JT, Puka, Wilson, Andrews, Downs, Moore, Cook, Wilson, Mitchell, Hubbard, Ingram. What do we do to save the season? The team is good. The team is fine. We're not really needing to do anything. I know 1 and 4, you're saying, Mason, how the hell is the team good? How the hell is the team fine? I've been losing games. Well, it's a double flex format where depth's harder to come by. And we drafted Alvin Kamara, who was suspended. And Jonathan Taylor's done nothing for the first 5 weeks. Going forward, these players will be good, right? Going forward, these guys will be fine options. So I think you're actually in a good spot and you shouldn't be too concerned. I wish I had something. I just think fundamentally, if you missed out on 2 of those top starters in a double flex 12-team league, probably really hard to overcome drafting both those guys. And now we just have to really hope they start producing. But Kelly coming out says 12-team at BBR 5-0. We have Allen, Eckler, Kamara, Swift, Mostert, Amon-Ra, Ayuk, Hopkins, Jacoby, Pitts, Ferguson. Fair RB depth. Should we look to trade for a better wide receiver tight end or not mess up a good thing? Thanks. So thank you. Obviously phenomenal team. And this is the team where we can afford to go out there and get an elite level tight end. If you could sell Mostert and Pitts and go get Hawkinson, sell Swift and Pitts and go get Kelsey, that would be a no-brainer because we can afford it with this roster. 5-0, phenomenal team. Super happy to see that you're crushing it out there. Now, D-Brov says 12-team double flex, bad break with Anthony Richardson plus dropping Justin Fields after week 3. We have Lawrence and Russ for quarterback now. Brutal, my man. Do we make a trade for a top quarterback or stay put? We have Kamara, Kyron, Jacobs, James Cook, Amari, Chase Keenan. Looks like this is a team where you can't afford to go out there and trade for a top end QB. I think that Lawrence is still fine as a mid QB one. If it was like a 10-team league where you started, say, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, I would say we probably want to go out there and we probably want to make a play. However, with this being a double flex format, you're in a much better spot to sit on your hands. TJ says trade away Montgomery and Deontay for CeeDee Lamb. It's a single flex league where we're 4-1. We also have Jamar Watson, Jameson, JT Mixon, Brian Robinson, Roshan. Can everybody spam the chat? What direction would you go in? Would you rather have Montgomery and Deontay Johnson or CeeDee Lamb? Please let me know in the live chat right now, ladies and gentlemen. So obviously, I know a lot of people, you can tell in this live stream, are concerned about Lamb. Montgomery has absolutely been crushing it. Lamb, Montgomery, Lamb, Montgomery, 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 Lamb. Montgomery, 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 Montgomery. Yeah, it looks like most people are telling you Montgomery. I don't mind the idea, but I think maybe we're just paying a little bit too much. Just a little bit too much. Now, Jay says just traded Jefferson in a 3rd for Bijan in a 1st and Deshaun Watson. Hell yes. Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like, if you're a contending team, I think you could make an argument that you may even have Bijan over him straight up. So that is a no-brainer there, my friend. That is awesome. Now, Amsik still says, traded DJ and Breeze for Jefferson and Pacheco. Did I win? Depends what you're looking for. I think we lost in the short term. If Jefferson's back in 5 weeks, we won. It's really hard to know right now. Rawlings says, 12-team PPR trade Madison London for Pearson Addison. Yes, I'd rather have Pearson Addison. Jason, always happy to see us, says, Would you trade Kamara and Lamb or Metcalf for Brees and Waddle? Kamara to Brees, up to you. Metcalf to Waddle, probably give me Waddle. I would rather have Lamb. Cowboys offense worries me at the moment, and Williams coming back. So the thing is, you don't need to be worried about the Cowboys offense. Las Vegas sportsbooks are projecting the Dallas Cowboys offense this week to be a top 5 offense in the NFL with total points scored. So I think things will be just fine. I think what just happened is they went up against the toughest defense in the NFL. And it was on national television, so everybody is panicking. So I don't know. Batman Gaming says, happy BR, Swift or Henry rest of season. I will go Swift, my friend. Jonathan says 12-team BBR, Dak, Russ, Walker, Etienne, Cup, Lamb, Flip, Puka, Hawkinson, Ridley, and then on the bench we have Barkley, Pickens. Should we send Barkley for a quarterback? No. I think that here, if you wanted to make a play, if you could sell, say, George Pickens and Dak and go get a quarterback like Lamar, we would do it. Sending Barkley and Dak for a QB is probably a little bit too much, even with a great team. Chris says 3-2 at BBR, single flex. We have Fields, Bijan, Pollard, Ridley, Puka, Addison, Hawkinson, JT, JSN, Christian Watson, Higgins, Mike Evans, Brian Robinson, Spears. Feel jammed at wide receiver. Any moves? No moves in the short time, unless you could trade, like, say, Mike Evans and Justin Fields and go get Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes when this team's this loaded. We would go ahead and do that. Outside of a trade like that, honestly, I don't really see too many moves in the short term just because this team is so strong as is. And we also have a couple injuries that we're dealing with. I think the team's going to get better as the season goes on. Jason says, for a trade, would you trade away Deontay or Hollywood? I'd probably rather a Deontay over Hollywood rest of season. Darnell says 10-team full BBR, 3 wide receivers, Dynasty, 3-2. We have Brock, Saquon, Tony, Debo, Hollywood, Godwin, Kmet, Jameson, and then on the bench, Gus, Sanders, Moss, Achane, Dell, CJ, Fields, DeMercado getting offered Hurts, AJ Brown, Mixon for Achane, Dell, and CJ Stroud. I don't know if you're trolling us, my man. Oh, no, the Dynasty. Let me change our mindset here. CJ to Hurts, Dynasty, give me Jalen Hurts, not close. Dell to A.J. Brown, give me A.J. Brown, not close. Dell still's not really going to move the needle here in a 10-team Dynasty league. Achane, Mixon, obviously Mixon for now, Achane long-term. I think we go ahead, we probably take the best player, especially if this is a super flex format, probably go ahead and get Jalen Hurts here. And obviously, under the assumption we are a contending team. Jacob says 12-team, have BBR format. We have Hurts, Jacobs, Kamara, Michael Thomas, Dell, Kelsey, Brees, Watson, Javonte, Dobbs, Ferguson, Achane, Anthony Richardson. Got offered Aaron Jones and Ayuk for Alvin Kamara. So obviously it sucks going through and dealing with like the Anthony Richardson and Achane injuries. And we actually do need the depth, so I would go ahead. I'd probably sell Alvin Kamara for Aaron Jones and Brandon Ayuk because we need the depth on that team. Sebastian says, I'm 1-4 in a 12-team double flex league. We have Stroud, Etienne, Walker, Waddle, Pickens, Hawkinson, Mostert. On the bench, we have Brees, Madison, Javonte, Jameson, Jamal, I don't know, and Pitts. Should we trade Brees for Amon-Ra? We need wide receiver depth. PBR double flex format, it's an absolute no-brainer. Yes, go through and let's trade Brees off for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think it'll make the team a lot better, and the team will be fine going forward. Now, Jazzy says, a 4-1, 10-team at PBR format, single flex. We have Jalen Hurts, Jamar Chase, Kupp, Henry, Ramondre, Laporta, Watson. And then on the bench, we have Ford, Sanders, Madison, Algier, Dell, Roshan. Got offered Waddle and Kyron for Sam Laporta. And got offered Rachaad, White for Ramondre Stevenson. I think we go ahead. The second call is going to be up to you. Rachaad White versus Ramondre Stevenson's a personal preference thing at this point. And then Waller and Kyron versus Sam Laporta. I am going to go ahead. I'm going to take Darren Waller and Kyron Williams, operating under the assumption that Amon-Ra St. Brown comes in and takes some more targets away from St. Brown. Chase says Burrow or Stafford. This week, I'm going to go Stafford. Long term, I'm going to go Burrow. Dalton coming out, happy to see us. Says, hey, Mason, 3-2. We have Lamar, St. Brown, Lamb, James Cook, CMC, Gus, Palmer, Deontay, Ertz, Evans, Roshan, Williams, Spears, Kincaid. Concerned with Cook's usage, should I trade away Mike Evans for Aaron Jones? Okay. I agree. James Cook and his usage going down is something to be concerned about. We have CMC, so we have a lot of flexibility here. We have the wide receiver depth that we are going to be getting Deontay Johnson coming back out of the bye week as well, so we can afford to make a deal like this if you really wanted to. And also, it doesn't hurt that we have the wide receivers at the very top end. If this is a league where you only have one flex spot and 2 wide receivers, I think it is an absolute no-brainer with this setup, possibly to go through and trade Mike Evans for Aaron Jones. Where I'd be a little bit more hesitant is if it's that league where you have to start 3 wide receivers, or if it's a league that's a full BBR format where we have multiple flex spots, my friend. Now, Charlie says, happy birthday, Mason. Thank you, my man. Full BBR 3-2. We have Allen, Smith, Higgins, McCaffrey, Walker, Taylor, Laporta, Palmer, Elliott, Watson, JSN, Buffalo, Baltimore's defense. Who should we start and any traits? We're going to be starting Devonta Smith and, oh my gosh, who else do we have a wide receiver? Smith and Higgins if he plays, I guess, and Smith and Palmer if he doesn't. Then running back, CMC, Walker, Taylor in the flex. Running back's great. We have a great tight end as well. Between Buffalo and Baltimore's defense, we're going to be going with Buffalo's defense. The only thing that I would say is whenever we are lacking wide receiver production like this, I don't necessarily think with this team the first thing is, okay, let's go ahead and let's go trade for a wide receiver. Instead, I think that you're probably better off going through and seeing if we can just drop the guys like, say, those backup defense that we have. Maybe see if we can get anything when it comes to selling Deshaun Watson and just rostering a few more wide receivers. That way we can potentially solve the depth that way, right? I don't think we necessarily need to make a trade, but I do think we should make an adjustment if we can that way. Now, D. Larso coming out says 12-team BBR, single flex, 3-2. We have Dak, Bijan, Brees, Lamb, DJ Moore, Puka, Kincaid. On the bench, we have Kamara, Charbonnet, Godwin, Michael Wilson, Palmer, Dodson, Frymuth. Trade Kamara, Puka for JTT or any possible moves, or look for more of a return for Puka and Kamara. Okay. Kamara to JT, but it's not super easy. Puka to T. Higgins, you are getting a massive downgrade at this point, even if, I mean, I would love to say that's not the case. You know, I do not have much Puka. I wish I did. But yeah, I think you need more if you're going to go ahead and make this trade. I'm not going to fault you at all if you wanted to. Yeah, you just need more for Puka and Alvin Kamara. I mean, people love Puka, even with cutback. So it says full BBR, Smith or Thielen. We're going to go Smith over Thielen, even though I know people will hate us, and I repeat, hate us for it. And then Stevenson or Etienne, thank you. No, thank you. We are definitely going to go Etienne over Stevenson. That one's easy, and I don't think anybody's going to be upset with it. Vincent says start 2, Laporta, JT, Michael Thomas, Downs, Curtis Samuel, and Jerry Jeudy. We're going to go with Jonathan Taylor and Jerry Jeudy, assuming Amon-Ra St. Brown plays. If St. Brown doesn't, then we can go ahead and we can take Sam Laporta. Now, Loop Jam says, need help. What do we do at running back? We get Mostert. We have Fields, Brock, Logan Thomas, Musgrave, Achane, Gainwell. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we need to make a play at running back. Double flex format. I mean, if it's a double flex league, the issue is if we start selling some of these wide receivers, then yeah, we'll be able to fill in our running back situation. But then we're just going to have holes in the flex spots, you know? So it's not necessarily as easy as just going through and saying, okay, let's trade away Waddle and get a running back in return. Instead, we probably want to go through and we probably just want to optimize the bottom end of this team. So I'd say we drop the backup tight end, we drop the backup quarterback, pick up a few running backs off the waiver wire, roster both of the guys in Arizona that we at least have one person viable and good to go. Is in a double flex format, just trading a wide receiver for running back's not going to solve the fundamental issue. We just don't have enough skill positional starters. Now, S.A. Min is coming out saying 14-team league, 4-1. We have Stroud, CMC, JT Walker, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Waddle, and then on the bench, Watson, Dotson, Jameson, Spears, Ingram. Any advice to make the team better? 14-team league, depth's going to matter a little bit more. Very well-balanced roster. I mean, we have CMC, Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker. We're in a phenomenal spot. I would say not really. This is a team where we probably do want to actually roster 2 quarterbacks if we can and play the matchups between Stroud and that other QB. But great team there. Great team. Brandon says, made a deal pending. Kelsey playing. I get Kelsey, White, Tutu. I give Montgomery, Hollywood. Oh my gosh, no brainer. Yeah, go get Travis Kelsey there. We would still have Eckler, White, Pierce, Algier, Jaleel, Diggs, DJ Olave, Myers. This is a W, and Travis Kelsey should be playing this week, my friend. He's been at practice, and we got the report saying that he will be. Dalton says 10-team full BBR, double flex. 2 and 3, we have Hurts, Pierce, Jacobs, Chase, Addison, Goddard, Devonta Smith, Hawkinson, Tucker. And then on the bench, we have Watson, Roshan, White, Williams, Achane. Any trades? Very well-balanced team. I don't necessarily see anything that stands out, obviously, with the double stack in Philadelphia, which I really like. And we have some of this depth down here. Like, if you wanted to go to the Khalil Herbert team and go, hey, man, I'll give you Roshan and Pierce, give me a running back upgrade, then sure, do it. But, yeah, I think, honestly, you can be kind of chilling in a double flex format with that squad. Now, Kier coming out says 12-team double flex. We have Stafford, Kupp, Chase, Hall, Swift, Ingram, Wilson, Lamb. And then on the bench, we have Dak, JSN, Zay, Sky, Elijah Mitchell, Keandre, Anthony Richardson. Buy low all season to make the team any more trades. Great team at the very top end. The only thing I'd say is probably want to go through and optimize for the bottom end of this bench. At this point, Sky Moore is someone that you can just go ahead and let go of and possibly go pick up someone like Josh Downs instead. So yeah, all I would say is let's probably change some things that we have on the bench, but great team, great team. Guacho coming out says 3-2 at BBR format, double flex. We have Allen, Kelsey, Eckler, Javonte, Kirk, Judy, Myers, Osborne, Love, Wandale, Downs, Ahmed, Gallup, Mims, Sanders, Gibson, Gainwell. Who starts and any traits? So, I mean, if we were looking to get someone from the bench into the starting lineup, it would probably be Miles Sanders. If you wanted to start Sanders over Osborne and Miles Sanders plays, then sure, let's do it. Double flex format, depth's going to matter a little bit more. We simply just don't have the depth. However, so, I mean, honestly, I don't necessarily see any trades that make sense. More so, let's just, if we have Josh Allen, if we have Travis Kelsey, and we don't feel super comfortable about where we stand at running back and wide receiver, let's not roster a backup quarterback. Let's not roster a backup tight end. Let's churn the waiver wire for running backs and wide receivers. Now, real quick, we are 1 like away from hitting 700 likes on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for Thursday night. And on top of that, since it was our birthday this week, Underdog's hooking y'all up with a Justin Herbert special pick'em on Monday night, more than less than half a total yard. So please make sure you're taking advantage of it. Super happy that we were able to get you all of that. Now, our next question coming out from Lachi, who says 12-team half PPR league. 1 and 4. We have Herbert, Puka, Kupp, St. Brown, Kirk, Kamara, Stevenson, Connor. Should we trade St. Brown, Alvin Kamara for Aaron Jones, Saquon, and Jordan Addison? Okay. St. Brown to Saquon, downgrade. Kamara to Aaron Jones, probably. No, you can't do this. You can't do this. I mean, St. Brown's going to play. Alvin Kamara's going to play. We need guys who are going to play right now and put up points in the lineup, so we're going to keep Kamara and St. Brown. Now, Jack says 12-team PPR 2 and 3. We have Stroud, Eckler, Montgomery, Brees, Waddle, Smith, Eckler, Michael Thomas, Osborne, Palmer, Jaleel, Spears. Half the league is at the same record. Any trades? If we could send like a depth wide receiver like Palmer or Michael Thomas, package him with Stroud, and get a slightly better quarterback, go get to someone like Burrow, go get to someone like Lawrence, I think we would look to do that. But outside of that, great team when it comes to our running back wide receiver balance. Raul says we have Jalen Hurts, Pollard, Taylor, Gibbs, Gainwell, White, Evans, Flowers, Puka, Waddle, Claypool, Kelsey. Any traits? We have the elite quarterback. We have the elite tight end. We're focusing on running backs and wide receivers with upside down there on the bench and in the starting lineup. Don't necessarily have any trades for you outside of maybe if you want to send Mike Evans and Rashad White for an elite level wide receiver, you could look to do that. And possibly the other thing that we'd be looking at is potentially going through and dropping Chase Claypool and finding another player off the waiver wire. Now, Jason says Lamb and Mixon for Jefferson and Barkley. We would go Jefferson and Barkley here. We have Mixon, Kyron, Mostert, Madison, Connor, with Lamb, Ridley, Puka, Michael Thomas, and Godwin at wide receiver. Okay. Mixon to Barkley. I think you want Barkley long-term. Lamb to Jefferson. Obviously, it's a short-term downgrade. Long-term, you have the upside with Jefferson. It really comes down to your record and if you can afford to not have the production right now. If you're 5-0, 4-1, then sure, go out there and trade for Jefferson. However, if you're going to need that production right now, probably not the best idea to go through and make this move. Matt says PBR 10-team currently 1 and 4. We have Walker, Brees, JT Ford, Adams, Olave, Judy, Dell. Should we trade Walker for Jefferson and Hunt? 1 and 4, hell to the no. The last thing you could do on a 1 and 4 roster, even if we're loaded at running back, is go and take a player that is producing and helping us win right now for a long-term option. You can't do it. Jay says 14-team BBR single flex. We're 3 and 2. We have Allen, James Cook, Saquon, Lamb, St. Brown, Mark, Nico. And then on the bench, we have T. Ramondre, Palmer, Herbert, Osborne, Gainwell. Thoughts? Improvements at running back. Single flex league, 14-team format. Running back will be important, but wide receiver depth will be as well. Obviously, it would have been very useful if I could have gotten in a time machine and been smart enough to tell you to go through and sell Ramondre Stevenson back when he had value. Sadly, I was not smart enough to say that. So instead, probably going to be holding on to Ramondre for his possibility of long-term. I think that we get Saquon Barkley back this week. I do not expect Saquon Barkley to be, an elite level RB1 because this is a horrendous offense. This is a horrendous offensive line. He's coming back from an injury. But I do think that Barkley will be good enough to make a difference in this lineup. I think he will be someone that we can go ahead and start. And I don't think it will change too much. I don't think we have too many trades there that would make a lot of sense. But give me 1 second. Just let me go pee. I'll be back in a second. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. And we may actually have to pull this up on the other question here. I know our last question came out from Kier. I know Kier actually sent multiple questions. So I'm going to be careful about where we restart here just to make sure that we don't miss anybody. And you know, I will not do that. And it looks like we answered Lachi. We answered Matt. Kuhn coming out says, one quarterback league, pick 3 for rest of season. Love, Watson, Dobbs, Howell. Should we trade Tyler Lockett for Brock Purdy? We'd go Watson rest of season. I don't think we would go ahead and make this trade, though. I mean, if you're trading Lockett, I'd rather package him with Watson and go get a better quarterback than that. Okay. Now, Kier says, got offered CMC for Chase, Swift, JSN. Do I win? If it is a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, I'm completely fine going out there and overpaying for Chase, even if we're giving up a lot here. Okay. Now, Dylan says 12 team single flex 4-1. We have Lawrence, Jacobs, Swift, AJ Cup, Ingram, Hopkins, Goff, Palmer, Roshan, Spears, Zay, Jameson. Thoughts on the team? Any trades? Don't really have any depth. I agree we don't have any depth. I don't think that makes sense to make any trades here on a 4-1 team, however, when we're thinking long-term. I mean, we're going to need depth as we go into the bye weeks, but instead of going out there and trading for said depth right now, I think we keep the studs in our starting lineup, and instead we look to go ahead and we just look to solve that issue through the waiver wire over the next few weeks. DC says 12 team, half PPR format. 4-1, we have Tua, Herbert, Walker, Ford, Hunt, Zach Moss, Gibbs, Kelsey, Logan Thomas, Mike Evans, Nico, Pittman, Amon-Ra, Zay Flowers. Someone has Swift and Barkley in the trade block. Who do we look to give up? I think if we have Tua and Justin Herbert, it would make a lot of sense for us to go through and sell one of these quarterbacks if we can go get that RB. Like if you could send, say, like Tua and Jerome Ford and / Kareem Hunt and go get Saquon Barkley or DeAndre Swift, really up to you. Or if you want to send Justin Herbert, really either Herbert or Tua, ask them, go, hey man, I'll give you a quarterback and you can have the Cleveland backs. Just give me one running back in return. I think that'd make a lot of sense, assuming it's a 1 QB league. Shuck says, 12-team at BBR format. We have Cousins, Jones, Walker, Jefferson, Adams, Amari, 3-2. Got offered Pollard, Metcalf for Jefferson, Jones. He may throw in Goff as well. Okay. So Jefferson to Pollard, definitely give me Pollard. Jones to Metcalf, honestly up to you. I mean, getting Goff would be nice if we could play the matchups between Goff, Cousins. I would do that deal as is, though. I'd sell Jefferson to get to Pollard. I mean, so we don't have to even risk it. Kidlo says, Flock, rise up. Yes, sir. Happy BR 5-0. We have Allen, Smith, Jefferson, Kyron, HN, Madison, Kittle, Evans, Down, Spears, Brian, Robinson, Javonte, Charbonnet, Jameson. Any moves? 5-0, we're just thinking long-term here. We have the Jefferson injury. We have the HN injury. So I think we are not going to make any moves on a 5-0 roster where we have Jefferson and HN. The last thing we can be doing is selling our depth to go get upgrades in the starting lineup, even if that may help us long-term. Because obviously we do need points in the short term, not just long-term here. So I think we probably just look to hold on to the team as we have it currently. Now, Muskendall says, hi, we have Ford, Phillies defense for Burrow and DeMarcado. Defense doesn't matter. DeMarcado doesn't matter. It's either, yeah, let's go get Joe Burrow if you need a quarterback. I mean, Burrow looks healthier than he was. Jack says 5-0, 14-team league. We have Burrow, Jacobs, Walker, Tyreek, Cup, Andrews, the Saints, Mayer, Lockett, James Cook, Olave on the bench. Who gets the flex? Great team in a 14-team format, first off. And I think I actually probably do go ahead, and since I'm an idiot, I run it back with Chris Olave. I understand Olave has been disappointing. I mean, we've been dealing with the Derek Carr shoulder injury. I think that Derek Carr should be healthier this week. And if you look at Las Vegas sportsbooks, I think that they're pricing in the Saints as a team that will have improved quarterback play compared to where they've been. Now, White Boy coming out saying, have BBR redraft. Trade Myers, Brian Robinson, Watson for Jefferson and Gibbs. Hell yes, hell yes, hell yes. I mean, going through and trading for Jefferson, obviously it's very dependent on your record, very dependent on if you're thinking like short-term, long-term. But regardless of however you're thinking, I mean, I'd rather have Jefferson than freaking Jacoby Myers, than Christian Watson, Brian Robinson, Gibbs. Yeah, give me Gibbs long-term. So try to swap out Watson with like Pittman or Terry. I mean, I'd rather sell Terry than Watson for sure, but I don't think you stop it over that. I think we're going to make this deal regardless. Yeah, I think that is a great move, my friend. I think it's a great move. Now, Bo Spam coming out saying, 12-team PBR, we have Herbert, Eckler, Rashad White, Lamb, Ridley, Stevenson, Kelsey, Lawrence, Dotson, Logan Thomas, Spears. I need a stronger flex. We're 4-1. You don't need a stronger flex. And if you wanted to go about it, a couple different ways in which we can do so. The first way is if you wanted to go through and see if we could potentially send, say, I don't know, maybe Trevor Lawrence and Calvin Ridley, if we can find someone that really wants to buy that stack from us. And go get a wide receiver that you really like in the flex spot that way, sure, let's send it. One other thing that we could look to do, and this is what I probably would do instead, is I would just see if we can eventually hit on someone off the waiver wire, like just continuously work waivers, especially with all these injuries. There will be guys that break out later in the season. There'll be another Kyron Williams. So like when we have Kelsey, if we want to go through and like drop Logan Thomas, once we get news that Kelsey is for sure good to go, and then just see if we can head off someone off the waiver. Bobby says trade Kyron or Swift for Olave. Probably not. You want the running backs. Carlos says 2 and 3, 10-team PBR. We have Fields, Derek, Jacobs, Kupp, Pittman, Pickens, Connor, Travis, Noah Gray, Osborne, Aaron Jones, Keontae Ingram. Lineup for the week and trades. We're going to go with Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Kupp, Pittman. Then I guess KJ Osborne in the flex spot because we have no Pickens this week. We have no Connor this week. We have no Aaron Jones this week. We can't start Keontae Ingram until we see that he's actually the guy. So I don't think we make any moves right now. As we begin getting these guys back, of course, drop Noah Gray. Then at that point, if you wanted to take like George Pickens and Justin Fields and go get Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, I'd love that. Country Connected, always happy to see us, says Purdy, Henry, Ford, Debo, Godwin, Kittle, Davis. Traded Debo, Godwin for Connor and Kupp last week. Just traded Russ and Ford for Rashad. Now 1 and 4. Had to do it, but I think these will help out. What are your thoughts? Great Connor and Kupp deal. I mean, even with the Connor injury. And then Russ and Ford for Rashad. I think it makes a lot of sense as well. I mean, I think Rashad White's an easy start over Jerome Ford based off the market share numbers that he is getting in Tampa compared to Ford being in that RB by committee. I think both trades make a lot of sense. I think this team will be much better going forward as well. Tsunami says, hey, Mason, happy belated. Waddle or Lamb rest of season? Really appreciate you, my man. We will go Lamb over Waddle rest of season. Now, Miles says 4-1, 12-team PBR single flex. We have Hurts, Pollard, Swift, Kupp, Puka, Komet, Mixon. And then on the bench, we have Watson, Khalil, Schultz, JSN, Spears, Dotson. Should we trade Mixon and Watson for Olave and Gibbs? 4-1, we're thinking long-term, full PBR format. I think Gibbs is an interesting trade target. Still, Mixon to Gibbs is a downgrade, but Watson to Olave is an upgrade. This is a trade that I personally may make in one of my own leagues, but at the same time, I think most people in this live stream would tell you that they would rather have the Mixon side. Now, Rev McSavage says 12-team full PBR standard redraft. We have Jamar, Amadra, Metcalf, Kirk, Addison, Flowers, Hall, Moss, Javonte. We have a trade on the table, DK for Madison. Should we try it or another RB? Obviously, we need a running back here. I think we need to try it for another running back, though. Alexander Madison was a sell high guy for us a few weeks back just because you were projecting out saying, okay, well, Cam Akers is going to be in a committee here, and Alexander Madison is not good enough to overcome a committee type situation. So if we're going to be looking to trade Metcalf, the running backs that I'd want, if we could get to Kamara, Mostert, Mixon, Henry, Swift, Kyron, Pacheco, Barkley, I think any of those guys would be a no-brainer. Obviously, the majority of those would be rejects, but I mean, if we only need 1 out of the 9 to say yes. Now, Adrian says, 8-team Happy BR 4-1. What should we give up for Kelsey? We have Diggs, Chase, Keenan, Watson, Higgins, Jameson, Jacobs, Mixon, Charbonnet. I think that what we look to do is we look to package a wide receiver and a running back. We have Goddard at tight end. Obviously, we're going to throw Goddard in as well. If you could send like Higgins, Mixon, Goddard, and send a 3-for-1 deal like that, I mean, send Watson, Mixon, Goddard, send a 3-for-1 deal like that. Essentially, any receiver not the top 3. And a package with one of our running backs and Dallas Goedert to go out there and get Travis Kelce in an 8-team league. That makes so much sense. Louis says, got offered Laporta, Tutu for Kmet and James Cook. What are your thoughts? Tutu literally has no value whatsoever. We start 3 receivers. We have viable RBs here, but we also have Dallas Goedert. I think it is a fair deal if you wanted to go ahead and make this trade and get Sam Laporta. I think Sam Laporta has more value than Kmet and James Cook right now. I don't know if I love it because it's a start 3 wide receiver league and we're selling the depth, and at the same time we already have Goddard, but definitely you'd be getting more value with Laporta. AK Jinx says Watson, Montgomery, Connor, Tyreek, Ayuk, Devonta Smith, and then on the bench we have Lockett, Ramadre. Should we trade Smith for Burrow? Burrow looks more appealing, and if you really wanted to, you can if it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. I'd rather try to trade like Smith and Watson instead to go out there and get like Lamar, though. Now, Dustin says 12-team BBR format, single flex. We have Stroud, Diggs, Chase, Olave, Bijan, Etienne, Laporta, Pierce. And then on the bench, we have Downs, Rasheed, JSN, Jaleel, Keaton, Deontay. Any quarterback trade ideas? 14-team league, the depth's going to matter a little bit more at wide receiver, running back. It'll be harder to come by off the waiver wire. So when we look to go through and we look to see some of these expendable pieces for us, like who would we look to trade that has value? Nobody's going to pay for Josh Downs. We're 4-1. We'd rather have the long-term upside with these rookies rather than send them to someone else. It's a league where you have to start 3 wide receivers and 1 flex, so depth is even more important that way. So I know this was not the answer that you were looking for. I know that it sucks to hear, but you're doing great. I think it's a good team. I don't think you need to make a trade on it. The only thing I'd say is let's drop someone like Keaton Mitchell. Let's go pick up another quarterback off the waiver wire and play them based off matchups. Now, Dirk coming out says 1-3, 13-team league, double flex, no tight end, 0.2 points per yard. We have Burrow per receiving yard, that is. Burrow, Geno, Waddle, Puka, Evans, Hollywood, Nico, Watson, Deontay. Running back, we have Moss, Bijan, Ford, and Gibbs. What I love that you're doing with this league, if you're getting 2 points per receiving yard, focusing on running backs that are actually going to catch the ball to the backfield make a lot of sense. We have a wide receiver to throw in that flex spot as well. It's a team that's dealt with a considerable amount of injuries, so I understand that we are struggling here a bit. But once we do get Evans back fully, then at that point, if you wanted to see if we can send like Hollywood Brown and maybe Jerome Ford for an even better RB, I think that can make a lot of sense. But I definitely am going to be looking to hold on to like Jahmyr Gibbs in a format like that, right? I mean, if you're getting double points per receiving yard, probably want to hold on to Gibbs. Now, Rigoberto says 14-team BBR single flex league. First place is 4-1. We're first place. We are 4-1. We have Stafford, who's going to be much better going forward here, my man. Adams, Kirk, CMC, Eckler, Laporta, Brees. Just picked up Downs from the waiver wire. We were offered Jefferson, which we could possibly hold the long-term upside of because we're 4-1. For Brees Hall, what are your thoughts, and should we trade it all? I think it is a decent idea to counter to this Justin Jefferson trade. If we are 4-1, it's a 14-team league. Options on the waiver wire are going to be worse. That team will probably be desperate to go out there and get some production in their starting lineup right now. Now, I think you are sending too much if we were sending Brees Hall. But at the minimum, even with this team being in a phenomenal spot, if you wanted to go out there and potentially see if we could send maybe like Christian Kirk for Justin Jefferson, that would be an absolute no-brainer, right? If it's a 14-team format, that person is just dying. Let's give him some short-term production for long-term upside. Brees is just too much, though. Now, Will says 10-team PPR. We have Fields, Mixon, Swift, JT Hill, Adams, Lamb, T. Nico, Laporta. Got offered Swift, Nico for Ridley, Najee, or Addison, Rashad White. What are your thoughts? I think I'd probably go Swift and Nico because ultimately I think Nico Collins and Calvin Ridley are a lot closer than DeAndre Swift and Najee Harris are. So if we can get out of Najee at this price point, we do it. Now, it's Rocks guys coming out saying A.J. Brown for Aaron Jones, Waddle, DeMercado is nothing. So it's Waddle and Aaron Jones for A.J. Brown. Struggling with running backs. We have Saquon Sanders. Will Jones be good rest of season? I mean, the issue is, will Jordan Love be good rest of season, right? I would say if it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, we need a little more value. DeMercado, Keontae Ingram may be the guy. I think Waddle and Jones could be potential buy low candidates. I think we're just paying too much if we're giving up A.J. Brown. Mizro says, would you trade Kyron? We got offered Cup for him in Pittman. Kyron and Pittman for Cup. If it's a shallow format, you have more than enough running back depth. Sure, let's go ahead and do it. I think Kyron's going to keep crushing, though. He's a great workload. Now, Sal says 12-team PPR, 3-2. We just lost Jefferson. Our starters are Mahomes, Smith, Odell, Walker, Swift, Kittle, Mostert, Brees. And then on the bench, we have Kareem, Igby, Goff, McKinnon, Jaleel. Was offered Bijan for Jefferson and Brees and Saquon for Brees and Mostert. Wait, what? We would trade Jefferson for Bijan in a heartbeat if that's what you're asking. And then I don't know what you're saying when you're referring Brees and Saquon for Brees and Mostert. Expand this so you can make sure you see what's written. I will say regarding this that I would rather have Mostert in the short term. I would rather have Saquon in the long term. John says 10-team at BBR single flex, 1 and 4. We have Fields, Eckler, Mixon, DK, Keenan, Debo, DK, Collins, Pitts, and then on the bench, we have Connor, Herbert, Sutton, Watson, trades. We need wins. I agree with you. We need wins. So, I mean, what I'm probably looking to do, and I know it's like not the most exciting thing in the world, is just send James Conner for pennies on the dollar, package him with DK Metcalf, package him with Debo Samuel, package him with Nico Collins, and just go get a wide receiver upgrade you can. I mean, especially in a 10-team league where we can backfill with another option off the waiver wire that looks interesting. I think it's probably what we'll look to do. But Low Rise coming out, always out here. Let me go ahead and make you a moderator on the channel, my man. No idea how you're not a mod already. But saying 12-team BBR double flex, dynasty trade, Lamb and Brian Robinson for Jamar Chase. So if this is Bijan Robinson, it's Lamb and Bijan. If this is Brian Robinson, it's easily Jamar Chase. Rest of the team is Lawrence, Bijan, Achane, Olave, Ridley, Watson, Andrews, Jameson, Dell, Osborne, Kincaid, and then other alternative draft directions. So a lot of it is going to have to do if this is a rebuilding or if this is a contending team. I feel like we're kind of stuck in the middle where we have productive pieces for now, but we also have the long-term upside. You could kind of go in either direction here. I think this is a good starting point to go out there and make that trade for Jamar Chase. And then obviously our record really dictates what we should be doing there at this point in Dynasty. Michael says CMC owner wants Swift, Kyron, and Cup. We have Evans, Kirk, Cooper, Godwin. Just left with Algier though. 10-team league. I'm 4-1. We have Kelsey and Mahomes. Pairing up Kelsey, Mahomes, CMC would be a nutso team. It's a 10-team league where depth doesn't matter that much. We are giving up a lot to do this, though. Cup is a round 1 player. Kyron and Swift are possibly 2 potential round 2 players as well. I think it's a very interesting trade. It's one of those deals where my default is to say it's CMC. Don't overthink it. Just go get the best player in fantasy. What I would want you to do is go to the waiver wire and see if we can pick up anybody else that you think would be interesting and throw them to the other side of the deal and see what it looks like, you know? So say CMC and then the next best pickups that you would have off waivers. Okay. Hoshposh coming out says 10-team PBR 1-4. We have Cousins, Hill, AJ Brown, Hall, Javonte, Ridley, Schultz. With Hollywood, Watson, Sanders, Ramondre. Should we trade Ridley for someone like Kyron, or is there a different move we can look to make? Obviously, it makes a lot of sense to go out there and get a running back if we can. I think that is probably what we end up having to do. I think what we would try to do beforehand, however, is if we could go through and if instead we can send, say, Jacoby Myers and Javonte, or Hollywood and Javonte and go get an upgrade that way instead. Or with Miles Sanders, you know, but essentially if we can package together two of those guys like that, I think I'd prefer making that trade. But the Ridley for Kyron would be an alternate where, I mean, with our wide receivers or running backs there, probably does make sense. Now, Chef Inabi coming out saying, half 10-team league, Hurts, AJ, Lamb, Brees, Taylor, Swift, Andrews, Stevenson, London, Pierce, Fields, Laporta, DJ Pittman. Should we trade Laporta and Pierce for Joe Mixon? I like the idea when we have Mark Andrews to go through and sell Sam Laporta and go get an upgrade elsewhere. Just Sam Laporta has significantly more value than this currently. So honestly, you can't do this, my friend. Honestly, you need to find a better price point for Laporta. Now, Shamil Always Abadisia says 10 TBBR, choose 2 wide receivers to start and 1 flex. Keenan, Puka, Collins, DJ Montgomery, flex Montgomery. And should we try to hold them or trade for later? I'm going to have a sell live video coming out tomorrow and I talk about DJ Moore in it. I would definitely watch it and keep an open mind and just let me know what you think. But regarding Keenan, Puka, DJ Moore, Nico Collins, I'm going to be starting Keenan, and your call between Puka, DJ Moore, I would start those guys over Nico Collins, though. But definitely start Montgomery in your flex. Now, Swisher, always happy to see it, my man, says 10-team BBR double flex. We have Fields, Eckler, Walker, Diggs, DK, Pitts, Jeff Wilson Jr., Osborne. And then on the bench, we have Watson, Sanders, Hubbard, Dotson, Tua, Warren, Purdy. Trade Diggs and Walker for Kupp, Jacobs, Hollywood, and Jaleel. Double flex format, depth's going to matter a little bit more. I mean, we don't have that grid of options. Like, we're having to start Jeff Wilson Jr. right now in the starting lineup. Diggs to Kupp, downgrade. Walker to Jacobs, downgrade. We're picking up Hollywood and Jaleel. Jaleel's probably not even startable in that right now. So we're essentially downgrading from Diggs and downgrading from Walker to Kupp and Jacobs to pick up Hollywood Brown just to get one extra startable player. I don't think we do this, my friend. I think that you need a little bit more. I don't really see Jaleel being viable going forward, to be honest with you. Okay. Justin says, Achane Stevenson for Rashad White, Sam Laporta. You want Rashad White, Sam Laporta with Achane injury. Now, the name I can never pronounce is Mason, my guy. Lamar, Barkley, Henry, Diggs, DJ, Hopkins, Henry. Flowers in the flex. With McKinnon in the flex as well. 3 and 2, thoughts and trades. I'll do anything to see if we can get a better flex over McKinnon, my man. I mean, even if that would include trading like DJ Moore and getting 2 startable players in return. Like sending DJ Moore and maybe getting back, like, say, Olave and Pittman, Olave and Hollywood, you know, getting like 2 of those wide receivers just so we could have someone startable right now. I think that could make sense. Now, Angel says 3 and 2, 12 team, 2 quarterback, 1 flex, half BBR. We have Hurts, Tua, Walker, Gus, Adams, Robert Woods, Elijah Moore, Dawson Knox, David Njoku, Lazard. And then on the bench, you have Connor, Everett, Zach, Reynolds, Deontay, Ingram, Kyler. Any moves we should make, the waiver wire is dry. So, I mean, 2-quarterback format, you're in a very comfortable position. I mean, I believe that the waiver wire is dry. Obviously, we would love better wide receivers here than Elijah Moore, Robert Woods as our wide receiver 2s and 3s. We want to hold on to the elite level quarterbacks if we can. I would say this is one of those teams, once we lose James Cook, we have so little depth where I very rarely recommend this is like the move that we make. But similar to the team that we just looked at before this, I think honestly, this could be a trade where it possibly makes sense for you to go out there and send Davante Adams and just get 2 startable pieces in return, right? I think we may end up having to make that play, to be honest with you. Kieran, always happy to see us. Says, Flockers, drop a like. Need an upgraded receiver. Who should we trade Mostert for? We have Hollywood, Hopkins, Davis, CMC, Pollard, Henry. Keep him or take advantage. Mostert will crush with no Achane. Obviously, you have Jeb Wilson Jr. So maybe he doesn't look as good as he did previously. But if you wanted to send like Achane and Hollywood and maybe go get someone like Lamb, Adams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, that would be the range. That would be the range. Steven says PPR, Henry, Olave, or Ramadre for Tyreek and Mixon. Ramadre to Mixon easily. Henry and Olave for Tyreek Hill. We'll go Tyreek and Mixon. Dinky says, I trade away Diggs, DJ Moore, and Ramadre for Kupp, Bijan, Judy. Should we do it? Diggs to Kupp, downgrade. DJ to Bijan. Let's go Diggs to Bijan, lateral move. DJ to Kupp, upgrade. Ramadre to Judy, who the hell cares? Let's go get Kupp and Bijan, my man. Give more. Always happy to see you. My guy says 12-team standard, 4-1. We have Mahomes, new addition here. I mean, I'm no expert, my friends. I wish I was. But I've heard about this guy, Mahomes, and I heard he's supposed to be good. I can't vouch for it. It's just the rumors I've heard in the YouTube live chat, but apparently this guy's good. CMC, Cook, Taylor, Puka, AJ, Laporta, with a bench of Jefferson, Olave, Spears, Jaleel, Dobbs. Traded Fields, Barkley, and London for Mahomes. Was this a good move, bud? Thanks again for the Morning Man shout out. Of course, we're still going from our Morning Man cup here, my man, or jars. I apologize. I like the idea. I think we probably overpaid. We're 4-1, so I mean, this is a team where we're loaded up, where we can afford to overpay. Saquon Barkley's probably coming back, but also at the same time, obviously, Barkley's just a super frustrating player, and that you're dealing with the ankle injury. You're dealing with the horrendous offensive line. You're dealing with the horrendous offense. So I understand if you wanted to go through and make that play. And we can afford it if we're 4-1. But we're actually going to have to swing this back around to the other page so we can keep pulling these questions up. And as I do this, let me remind you, I'll go down there, hit that like button if you have not done so already. We're closing in on 800 likes on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to Underdog, get a Patrick Mahomes special pick of more than less than half a total yard for tomorrow night. And because it was our birthday, a Justin Herbert special pick of more than less than half a total yard as well. So please make sure you take advantage of that. Super happy that we're able to get all that for y'all. Now let's move this over. I believe our next question. Coming out from Kaler, says, happy birthday. Thank you, my man. Trade Puka, Kamara, Watson, Henry for AJ Brown, Andrews, Justice Hill, Joshua Palmer. Okay, so Puka to A.J. Brown, give me A.J. Brown. Kamara to Andrews, up to you. Watson and Hunter Henry to Just Hill. Josh Palmer, downgrade, but who cares? We're starting Herbert, Eckler, Ramadre, A.J. Brown, Olave, Andrews, Flowers. Yeah, I think we go ahead. I think we take the best player in the deal. I think that best player is A.J. Brown. And I think that Andrews is honestly kind of close to Puka, so I would do it. Now, Jack says, I've traded Zay and Laporta for Jacobs, Brees, Puka. Sorry, for Jacobs. Great deal. Puka and Brees for Olave, Purdy. Not so much. No, I'm sorry. Puka and Brees for Olave. My man, right now, Puka has more value than Olave straight up, even if I would rather have Olave. Purdy for Burrow. That's a good one. And Jaleel for Connor. Decent. We have Kupp, Andrew Stafford. What are your thoughts? I think it's a good team. I will say that middle deal, if I'm reading that correctly, trading Puka and Brees for Olave was a very bad trade. Outside of that, we like it. Augustin says, White, Palmer, Hopkins, or Osborne in the flex. We will probably go Rachaad White. Lando says, 12-team, double flex, 3 and 2. We have Tua, Saquon, Pollard, Jamar, London, Njoku, Ridley, Kirk, Lawrence, Thielen, Judy, Elijah on the bench. Trade a future 3rd and 1st for Thielen, Ridley, Njoku, middle of the week, last week. Any tips? So obviously we're looking to contend at this point. You'd rather have Thielen over the 3rd on a contender. You essentially traded a 1st for Ridley. I don't know if we love that. I mean, if it's a 1 quarterback league, then sure. Super flex league, then probably not. I think it's a team that looks good and is ready to contend. The only thing I would say is please do not trade away your 2025 first. Keep some of the long-term flexibility here. I like making the push to go in to win now if you believe that you can do it. It's a strong roster to do just that. But yeah, just please hold on to that 2025 first. Now, Landon says just traded Puka for Lamb. I would rather have Lamb over Puka. Back 40 says, happy birthday, bro. Thank you so much. You know I always appreciate you hanging out with us in these streams, my man. Matthew says, Arby's, Amon-Ra and Kelsey. Give Laporta, James Cook, Ridley. Amon-Ra and Kelsey are not even close. Rest of the team is Lamar, Breece Hall. Lamar, Hill, Kupp, Olave, Saquon, JT, ETN, Montgomery, Andrews. 3rd trade of the season, 8-team league. It's especially a no-brainer deal. Going and getting Travis Kelce here, and that 8-team format's phenomenal. Love to see it, my man. Now, Raid Gas says, who to flex this week? Lockett or Olave? Thanks. Thank you. I'm an idiot, so I'll go Olave. Graded says 3 and 2, traded Jefferson, Higgins for A.J. Brown, Hollywood. Getting A.J. Brown makes so much sense, pivoting off of Justin Jefferson, where obviously you do have the long-term concerns. Briner says 12-team PBR super flex. Start 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 3 flexes, 4 and 1. We got offered Kyron Moss and a future 3rd for my downs and a future 1st. Kamara, Gibbs, Dalvin, Amari, Deonta Foreman. Wide receiver, we have Amon-Ra, Devontae Adams, Puka, Downs, Flowers, Zay, and Shaheed. Okay. So it's a Dynasty format. Downs over Moss in the 3rd. Would I rather sell my future 1st or Kyron Williams? I would rather have my future 1st. I understand wanting to go through and push in. I understand wanting to win now. I played Dynasty in 10 plus leagues every single year at a minimum since 2014. And I'll tell you right now, Kyron Williams will not be worth a 1st-round pick this offseason. Ethan says, single flex 3 and 2. Tua, Richardson, Lamb, Allen, Olave, Kirk, JSN, Brees, Barkley, Cook, Gibbs, White, Moss, Achan. Offered Puka, Pollard for Barkley and Lamb. Thoughts and any other traits? Lamb to Puka, give me Lamb. Barkley, Pollard, give me Pollard. I think it's a very fair deal, and it's up to you. And with this team, I think it's a nice spot. Obviously, Richardson would have been a sell for us if it wasn't for the injury, or Tua would have been a sell because we have both these guys. But now I think we're probably just going to sit on our hands and wait for the long-term upside. Stephon says 12-team 3-2, standard starters. We have Tua, Montgomery, Ramadre, Diggs, Amonra, Waller, Kirk, and then on the bench, Najee, Roshan, Atwell, London, Sutton. We need a running back. What move do we make? I don't think there's an easy answer with the trade. I think what we're probably going to be looking to do instead is just go out there and like drop someone like Tutu Atwell and roster as many running backs as possible that look like Tajay Spears, where if an injury were to occur in front of them, then they make a difference. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Maxwell says 10-team. No, I'm sorry, Ethan. Ethan says 12-team PPR. We have Allen, Pierce, Amari, Chase, Diggs, Waller, Smith, Roshan, Ford, Spears, Richardson. What trade should we go for? Happy birthday. Thank you, my man. Very well-balanced team. I'd say, I mean, if we can still sell Ford, we would. I would love to go out there and pick up another viable running back. We've already been churning the waiver wire. It just sucks. I mean, if Roshan plays, please play him over the Arizona back because looks like Keontae Ingram may end up being the guy in Arizona. And we just don't know right now, my friend. We just don't know. But I am very sorry. I'm spacing out because I'm about to piss myself. Please let me go pee one more time. Okay, I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Now, our next question coming out from Ethan, who says 12-team BBR format. No, we already answered that one. Maxwell says 10-team full BBR. Trade away Swift for Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's a single flex format. Full BBR. We have enough running back firepower. Let's go ahead and let's make that move, my man. Timothy says trade Montgomery, Olave, Kittle for Bijan, Jaleel, and Hawkinson. It's a 10-team app BBR format. Montgomery to Bijan, massive upgrade. Kittle to Hawkinson, upgrade. Trading Olave to get it done. A 10-team league. Hell yes, let's do it. Naomi says, happy belated birthday. Thank you. Got offered Keenan for Ayuk and Devonta Smith and a 10-team PPR league. Single flex, 2 and 3. Highest records, 3 and 2. We have Purdy, Bijan, Swift, Ridley, Olave, Taylor, Hall. So we do have a considerable amount of depth. So honestly, I think you could go ahead and you can make this deal if you wanted to, based off the injury to Mike Williams. I do think Keenan Allen's not going to be a top 3 wide receiver going forward because Eckler will take targets, but I think he'll still be a top 10 wide receiver. Now, Fernando says 12-team at BBR 3 and 2. Thoughts on the team and any trades? Quarterback, we have Purdy, Richardson, so we're going to be sitting for the long term. Running back, we have Montgomery, Cook, Gus, Herbert, Addison, CD, Pickens, Dell, Musgrave, Thomas. So we're not super comfortable really at a tight ends. I mean, quarterback, we're still going to be streaming. Hopefully we can move Anthony Richardson to the IR. If you can't do that, you're probably going to go ahead and drop him. It's hard to roster someone for like 4 to 8 weeks. I mean, without that, say no one when they're coming back. If it's just clogging up a roster spot. If you could sell like George Pickens and James Cook and go get a running back you're really excited about, that can make sense. Now, Brian says 12-team full BBR format, single flex. We have, how do we get a good running back and who do we target? So running back right now, we're sitting with White, Moss, and then on the bench, we don't really have anybody. So yeah, when we're sitting here with these 4 viable wide receivers, I think it make a lot of sense if we can go send like Zay Flowers and Zach Moss and maybe go get to a running back like James Cook. Go to get to a running back like Dameon Pierce. Go get to a running back like Isaiah Pacheco. I think that would make a lot of sense with this team where we're loaded at receiver. Now, Cody says, need a flex. Gibbs, Roshan, Elijah, or Mingo. Oh, brutal, my man. If Roshan plays, we go Roshan. If Roshan doesn't, we go Gibbs. If Gibbs doesn't, then we go, honestly, probably Mingo. Can't play Elijah if you have no Watson and they're going up against the Niners. Jason says Prescott, Pollard, Kyron, Higgins, Addison, Kelsey, Eckler. And then on the bench, we have Watson, Jaleel, Reynolds, Ford, Dell, Palmer, Mims, 12-team full BBR league. Trades or changes. A guy wants a running back for Puka. Okay. So if we're looking to sell a running back for Puka, I don't know if we sell Pollard. I don't know if we sell Kyron. We definitely don't sell Eckler. And down there on the bench, we don't have that much running back depth. I think we look to keep this team as is. If you wanted to go make a trade for Puka, if you could send like Jerome Ford and Christian Watson, Jerome Ford and Terry McLaurin, and go get Puka that way, you would. But in reality, great team. Sleep Deprived coming out says 5-0 10-team at BBR. Looking ahead to week 7. We have Flowers versus Detroit, but I'd have to drop Christian Watson and Dobbs this week. They are against Denver. Should I stay with Zay or grab one of the two? Which to pick up? Oh, we're definitely going to go Christian Watson over Romeo Dobbs. You have to drop one of these guys. We're going to drop Romeo Dobbs, hold on to Christian Watson. And then between who we're going to start between Zay Flowers and Christian Watson that week. Probably going to go ahead and probably start Zay Flowers, even though, I mean, Christian Watson obviously is a great matchup, but Flowers getting a considerable amount of volume. Now, Curse Domain says 10-team BBR. We have Hurts, Jacobs, Cook, Hill, Ayuk, Andrews, Addison, Amari, Dell. Running back feels like my weakest point. How do we improve the team from Cook via trades? So, I mean, if you wanted to go out there and do it, nobody's buying Amari. I mean, Addison's probably a hold. If you'd probably have to sell like Ayuk, someone that people are actually excited about. If you wanted to go send like Ayuk and James Cook to go get to a running back in the Travis Etienne range, I would like that, my friend. AD says 0-5 double flex league. We have Burrow, Etienne, Henry, Pittman, Smith, Logan Thomas, Deonta Foreman, KJ Osborne. And then on the bench, we have Love, Hubbard, Kareem Hunt, Dobbs, Josh Downs, and T. Higgins. Okay. 0-5, we need points now, not later. So these rookies, these long-term pieces like Downs, I don't know. Honestly, my friend, this is a bad team. There's a reason we're 0-5. We don't even have any value we can really trade. If you send Downs and Osborne and go get a player we're slightly more excited about for the flex spot, let's do it. Kareem Hunt and Deonta Foreman and go get a running back we're slightly more excited about for the flex spot, let's do it. I just don't see who's excited to make that trade. And honestly, we just don't have much value. Chris says, should we trade James Cook for CeeDee Lamb? Yes, I'd rather have Lamb. Sobe says, should we start Reynolds or Breece in the flex? Definitely Breece Hall. We have Montgomery Kamara in at running back, Michael Thomas and Diggs in at wide receiver. Yeah, please start Breece Hall even in a tough matchup. Jalen says, 12-team BBR, would you trade Walker and Goff for Allen and Brian Robinson? My other running backs would be Raheem, Achane, Warren, and Brian Robinson if we do the deal. Honestly, I'd probably rather keep Kenneth Walker in that case. Especially Kenneth Walker's already gone through his bye as well. Eugene says 2-3, 12-team double flex. We have Purdy, Bijan, Aaron Jones, Kupp, Diggs, Goddard, Elijah Moore, Jaleel, DeMarcado, JSN. Matchups average 180 on me. Any moves we should look to make? We should play some better defense, my man. That's the first thing. Outside of that, it's a very strong team. We have the elite running back. We have some solid wide receivers. The only thing I'd say is let's go ahead and let's drop one of these guys at the very bottom end of our roster. And I think if Purdy's our starting quarterback, probably don't want to roster two quarterbacks and just play the matchups between the two. Squanch says Diggs and Gibbs for Jefferson and Kenneth Walker. Is this a good move? I'd rather have Diggs and Gibbs. If you're just thinking long-term, maybe go Jefferson. But no, I mean, if we were trading for Jefferson, I want a significant discount. I don't want to have to include anybody close to Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, Devin says 10-team BBR 2-3. We have Hurts, JT, James Cook, Hollywood, Amon-Ra, Waddle, Waller, Lamb, Harris, Jones, Javonte, Jeb Wilson, Judy, Ertz. Deontay, any thoughts? Can we do? I don't think we do anything. We're sitting on our hands, seeing if we get a pop for Harris, seeing if we're going to pop for Javonte. Then at that point, maybe we can sell them with a Hollywood Brown to get a wide receiver upgrade. The issue is nobody's trading for those guys right now. Now, Benjamin says 4-1, 12-team PPR format. We have Tua, CMC, JT, DJ Moore, T, Mostert, HN, Sutton, London, Hawkinson. Just got offered Jacobs and Puka for Mostert and DJ. Mostert to Jacob, give me Jacobs. DJ Moore to Puka, up to you. So I think we do this on a 4-1 roster. I mean, obviously Mostert is really exciting, and I'd probably rather have him. I mean, he's right there with Jacobs for this week. But long term, if Achane comes back, then I probably want to go ahead and probably want to get Jacobs. Now, Dialli says 12-team BBR single flex. We have Lawrence, Pierce, James Cook, Pollard, Hill, Amon-Ra, Goddard, Dotson, Roschon, Gino, Jamison, Quentin Johnson, Pitts. Any trades to upgrade tight end or flex? Who has value that we can send off, you know? I mean, if you wanted to send like Pitts and Dallas Goedert, send both of them together. And if somehow, some way we could convince someone to give us Andrews or Hawkinson, let's do it. I just doubt that we can pull it off. I mean, go for it. But nobody's trading for Dawson. Nobody's trading for Roschon. Nobody's trading for Gino. Nobody's trading for Jamison. Nobody's trading for Johnson. I think it's a team with upside, but we just probably have to wait and let it come to fruition. Now, Jay's coming out, says 12-team PPR, 3 receivers, 1 flex. Currently 3 and 2. Current running backs are CMC, Roschon, Gainwell, Gibson. Wide receivers are Amon-Ra, DJ Moore, Gabe, Puka, JSN, Quentin Johnson. Trade away Amon-Ra for Brees and Addison. 3 receivers, 1 flex, 12-team league. Depth matters a little bit more. I mean, we have a clear, glaring hole at RB2. So I would be fine if you wanted to go ahead and make this move. I mean, in general, I don't love selling those guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I mean, you are getting back 2 young players that have a lot of upside. I mean, and getting a position you need. Now, Zach coming out saying 8-team non-BBR format. We have Jefferson, Keenan, Ridley, Adams, Thielen, Goddard. Got offered Waddle for Dallas Goedert. Do I do it? Thank you. Happy birthday. Thank you so much, my man. And yeah, I probably would sell a Dallas Goedert for Jalen Waddle, if I'm going to be honest with you. Praying Man is coming out saying, traded Davis and Myers for Devonta Smith. Great deal. 2 and 3 in 6th place in a 10-team league with only 1 flex. Phenomenal deal then. Gino, Bijan, Walker, Jeff Wilson Jr., Jaleel Mitchell, Lamb, DK Smith, Higgins, Watson, Palmer, Waller, Musgrave. Do we trade Tua, Cousins? Do we trade for Tua, Cousins, Purdy, or a tight end? Thanks. Ultimately, I don't necessarily think we go ahead and make that move. I mean, if you wanted to go through and pick up another quarterback off the waiver wire and play the matchups, we can. If you're going to trade for a quarterback, I wouldn't be looking at someone in this tier. I'd be looking to get someone even better. I mean, I never want to be trading for like the quarterback 10, right? If I'm trading for a quarterback, I'm going to be going for an elite guy, or I'm going to stream the position. I'm not going to try to go for a middle ground option. And really solid trade, really solid team. I think it makes a lot of sense in a single flex 10-team league. Now, Foggy coming out saying, thoughts on trading Lamb and Barkley for Kupp and Mostert. I'm 3 and 2, and we have Brees on the bench. Barkley to Mostert, definitely Mostert in the short term. Lamb to Kupp, definitely Kupp in the long term. If you are worried about the Giants, it's an okay move, but obviously long term. I'd still rather have Saquon Barkley over Raheem Mostert. Now, to Spaceman says 12-team BBR double flex. We have Allen, Jacobs, Sanders, AJ Puka, Hawkinson, Myers, Flowers, and then on the bench, Scary Terry, London, Hubbard, KJ Osborne, 2 and 3. Any trades we should look for? So, double flex format, depth's going to matter a little bit more. I mean, we have nice wide receiver depth with the guys in our starting lineup right now. I mean, those guys down on the bench, such as Scary Terry, London, KJ Osborne, not necessarily going to give us any trade value if we try to sell them. So I would say not necessarily in terms of trades that we were making. I think it's a very strong team. The only thing I would say is let's definitely go through and let's definitely try to roster some more running backs here. I hope that, I mean, your question just got cut off and we have some more running backs on that bench. Now, Chili Badger coming out says, gave away Mahomes and got back JT and Joe Burrow. Should I push the trade or stick with Mahomes against the Broncos and let the trade go through in next week? If we could for sure get the deal to go in next week, then yes. We wait a week and we do it next week. The issue is, I don't know if the other owner is going to be able to back out if we decide to do that. When JT drops 30 points this week, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's a possibility. If it's a possibility he can back out, just make it now. If he can't back out, then yeah, we definitely want to wait a week because I don't think JT is going to be, I don't think it's likely JT goes out there and crushes. Now, Jard coming out saying 10-team BBR single flex. I'm 2 and 3 and we need points. Should I trade St. Brown, Aaron Jones, Garrett Wilson for Kelsey and Olave? My team would be Lawrence, Alvin Kamara, Stevenson, Kupp, Olave, Higgins, Kelsey. Maybe Stevenson turns it around. So 10-team league, single flex. I mean, going and getting Kelsey is an absolute no-brainer. St. Brown to Kelsey. I would definitely take Kelsey in this kind of format. Garrett Wilson to Chris Olave. I think we're getting a slight upgrade, or worst case scenario, it's a lateral move. And then we're paying Aaron Jones to get it done. Definitely a little bit of a hefty price. I would say in like a 12-team league with maybe multiple flex spots, probably not looking to make this move. But specifically, if you're looking at a team where you only have one flex and it's a 10-team PPR format, I think we can afford to go out there and overpay for Kelsey here. Texas sucks coming out. I don't know what this is about, my man. 12-team at BBR 3-2. We have Allen, CMC, Cup, Olave, Laporta, Flowers, Taylor. And then on the bench, we have Flowers, Tutu, Jaleel, DeMarcado, Love, Harris, Etienne. Traded Jefferson for Cup. Any other moves? Just made great deal trading Jefferson for Cup. Surprised that you're able to do that. I mean, now going forward, I mean, if you were sitting here, we don't have a lot of value. I would say we're not necessarily looking to make too many trades. I just think that guys that are on the chopping block right now for this team, like Tutu Atwell on the chopping block. I mean, Jordan Love possibly on the chopping block whenever we have Josh Allen, dependent on some of the waiver wire options. Like if you go out there and pick up like Keontae Ingram as well, just to make sure we have what, I don't know who it's going to be, but to make sure that we have the starting running back for Arizona, I think that makes sense. Now, Alexi says, happy belated Mason. Thank you. 12-team BBR super flex with 2 regular flexes as well. Should we trade Mahomes and Sutton for 2 and Waddle? Hell to the no. Not in a super flex format. Please go ahead and keep Mahomes here. Maybe, I mean, even in a 1 QB league, I'd probably still say no. Now, Richard says just traded Kyron Williams and Hopkins for CeeDee Lamb. Win or loss? Up to your team. I don't love telling people to trade away Kyron Williams just because it's someone that has such a nice workload. That, I mean, gives you such a high floor on a week-to-week perspective. But, I mean, I think it's an interesting spot to go out there and see if we can buy low on Lamb. And obviously, this is a lower price point than what he was in the past. So, and real quick, I need to go ahead and pull these questions back up. Real quick, if you have not done so already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to be getting a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. Plus, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be getting a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em more than less than half a total yard for tomorrow night. And on top of that, since it's our birthday, you'll get a Justin Herbert special pick'em on Monday night. Underdog hooked us up with. Super happy that I'm able to get all of you all that. So please make sure you take advantage. Now, our next question coming out from Sleeko says, standard non-BBR 12-team league 1 flex. Who to start and who to bench? We have, I'm actually going to have to resize this. I apologize. Allen, Cousins, DJ Moore, Pittman, Lockett, Hopkins, KJ JSN, Bijan Kamara. Okay, so we're going to be starting Josh Allen over Cousins. We're going to be starting Pittman and DJ Moore at wide receiver. Running back, we're going to go Bijan Kamara. And then for the flex spot, we will go ahead and be your call between Tyler Lockett and DeAndre Hopkins. But Justin coming out saying, have BBR format Ford for Judy. We have JT, Kyron, Keontae, Khalil, Ford. If it's a league where you start, say, 3 wide receivers in a flex or multiple flex spots, then sure. It's a double flex format. So, yeah, I think you can make it there. I mean, if it was a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, I'd say probably not. Just in case you didn't see, I have Jerry Jeudy trade rumors coming out today. Now, Ramon says 10-team BBR triple flex. I'm 4-1. We have Lawrence, CMC, Pollard, AJ Pittman, Pitts, Brees, Pierce, Terry, Michael Thomas, Higgins, Watson, Henry, Richardson. Any advice? Great team. 4-1. Putting Richardson on the IR for the long-term upside makes a lot of sense. We have the wide receiver depth where if you could take someone like Michael Thomas and Hunter Henry and go get an upgrade at tight end, we would, but much easier said than done. Sleep Deprived says, bench 1, Pacheco, DJ Moore, James Cook, Kyron Williams. We will bench James Cook, have to play Pacheco with this matchup currently. Xander says 12-team BBR 3-2, 16 playoff. Trade Tua, Hill, Judy for Josh, Diggs, Watson. Tua to Josh, give me Josh. Hill to Diggs, give me Hill. Judy to Watson, up to you, probably Watson. A very fair trade. I think it is up to your personal preference. Frozen State says Goddard and Cup for Kelsey and Addison. Very fair deal, up to your personal preference as well, and up to the rest of your roster. Trey says 12-team PPR double flex 4-1 record. Give ETN, get back Jefferson and Ford. We already have CMC Montgomery. So we have depth overall. I mean, I understand the thought process. You can't do this right now, though. Maybe in 2 weeks, sure. We're 4-1. We're going for long-term upside, but still, I think you're just not getting a big enough discount on Justin Jefferson there. Justin says 12-team map PPR format. Trade Fields, Ford, Kyron, Higgins for Cousins, Bijan, Ridley. So I would do this easily. Fields to Cousins, definite downgrade, but Kyron to Bijan, massive upgrade. Higgins to Ridley, massive upgrade. We're paying Jerome Ford's a nothing burger here. Go get the best player. Get Bijan here. Try to get Herbert instead of Cousins. Thoughts on both? I would way rather have Herbert over Cousins at this point, but yeah, I mean, I'll do either. Stealthy says flex Palmer, Rice, Foreman, JSN, Downs, or Jaleel. Gross. Probably going to go ahead, probably flex Joshua Palmer. Unless maybe if you have no Roschon and no Khalil Herbert and it's a non-PPR format, then you pivot to Deontay. Garrett says, thoughts on Rashad White? Brown for Rashad White. This is Hollywood Brown. Yeah, if you need a depth running back, then do it. If that's AJ Brown, hell to the no. Now, Diaz says 2 running backs, JT Moss or Jerome Ford, leaning all Colts. I think you go all Colts. Looks like Watson may miss, and you have Jerome Ford going up against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Zakula says 12-team full BBR single flex 4-bad 5-0. We have Allen, Sanders, Etienne, Tyreek, Nico, Laporta, London. And then on the bench, we have Charbonnet, Spears, Dell, Rice, Johnson, DeMarcado. Got offered Tua, Aaron Jones for Allen. What are we thinking? Appreciate you, my man. Single flex format. Depth's not going to matter as much. I understand that we need a running back right now. We don't know if we need a running back in the long term. I would say we don't make this move right now, even though we need the depth and I could understand how it possibly help our team. I think we play Josh Allen, see if anything pops up on the waiver wire for us next week. And if nothing does, then maybe we revisit the trade with Aaron Jones coming out of the bye. Jonathan says Jefferson and Rashad White for Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson for sure. G Medina says, happy BR. My running backs are Bijan, Etienne, then Montgomery, Pacheco, Madison. Which 3 do you like? Oh, you have to start Montgomery here. I know Pacheco has Denver. Madison has a good Bears matchup. Yeah, Madison seeing some of his work get lost to Cam Akers. And then, yeah, I mean, with Montgomery, you don't have Gibbs fully healthy. He's in the best offense. I mean, yeah, not the best offense. Obviously, the Chiefs are a better offense, but still. I mean, they're just running the ball so much more. And, yeah, thank you so much for being a long-time member of the flock. You know I appreciate you, my man. And hopefully your Cowboys bounce back this week. Hopefully they do. Ryan says, 10-team at BBR double flex. We have Burrow, Andrews, Jacobs, JT, Brian Robinson, Roschon, Warren, Algier, Spears, Jeb Wilson, Tyreek Hill, St. Brown, Godwin, Kirk, London, Sutton. Any moves? Drop 1 if needed. Okay. If we're going to drop someone here, you probably go ahead and you probably drop, oh my gosh, I don't know who. I mean, I don't think you can drop someone. So I think honestly what you're going to have to do is literally just take any 2 players, package them together to get an upgrade somewhere else. And go and send Jalen Warren and Christian Kirk and get the best running back you can. Get the best wide receiver in return, you know. I think it's a phenomenal team where you're loaded with so much depth and so much talent that I have no idea who we could possibly drop. So you have to make a 2-for-1 deal. Even if you lose out on a little bit of value, it's better than dropping one of them. Sean says 5-0 PBR, 3 wide receiver league. Would you trade Keenan and Rashad White for Cooper Kupp? Lineup is Herbert, Hill, Keenan, Ridley, Hawkinson, Kamara, Jacobs, Jacoby. In a league where the starting lineup's a little bit deeper, probably not. I mean, if it's like an 8-team league, then sure, let's go ahead and do it. 10-team league, up to you. 12-team league, probably no. Nicholas says 2-point PBR, Ramondre or Pierce. Gross. Probably still Pierce. I don't know. And then Kirk or Addison for the flex. We will go Addison with no Jefferson. Legendary, always happy to see us, says I just traded Devontae Flowers for Olave, Kirk, Swift, and then flipped Swift, Kirk for Pollard. Feeling extremely happy. You should definitely be happy about that second deal. Let me revisit the first one. Flowers to Christian Kirk, up to you. Devontae for Olave and Swift. I don't love the first one, but I mean, knowing that it got us to the second one, I think it makes a lot of sense. Team is now Burrow, Olave, Bijan, Pollard. Oh, great team. Ridley, Moore, Komet. Love it. Love it. I think the first trade's a little bit questionable, but knowing that we won that second deal in the way that we did, I think if you put them together, the net result is a positive. Garcel says, should we start Sutton at wide receiver 3 or wait and start Higgins? We're going to go Sutton. I have London, so we can start him if Higgins doesn't go. We have Kupp and Puka, wide receiver 1 and 2. The thing is with Higgins, even if he plays, we've seen them activate Higgins and then Higgins being like not a committee, but Higgins playing a part-time role coming back from an injury. You can't go through and roll the dice that that's going to happen. I think you just need someone right now. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from Stefan says, got offered Saquon and Ridley for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Can everybody spam the chat? Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Amon-Ra St. Brown or Saquon and Ridley? Amon-Ra St. Brown or Saquon and Ridley? Please let me know in the live chat, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know. Okay. Saquon. That's what I just wanted to get to. I wanted to get to this. I didn't want to have to be the guy saying to trade for Saquon, but okay, cool. I just have no idea how you're always making these deals, my man. I don't know who you're playing with. Every deal you do seems like a landslide. Phenomenal trade. Great trade. Now, Rich says, 10-team, full BBR double flex. Should we package Swift in a low-end wide receiver 2/high-end wide receiver 3 for Jonathan Taylor? Honestly, I'd say it depends. If it's like Hollywood, then sure. If it's like a wide receiver 2 with upside like Devonta Smith, then no. So it just depends on what the plus is. There are a lot of people in the chat that may rather have Swift over JT, even if I would rather have JT. Nate says 12-team double flex 3 and 2. We have Mahomes, Brian Robinson, Kyron, Chase, DK, Kmet, Lockett, Rice, or Reynolds. First time fantasy, bench is awful and clearly have no depth. Can we trade Chase and Lockett to get T. Olave, Pacheco? I understand the thought process on where you're coming from, where I agree that, yeah, we don't have really any depth here if we're having to go through and start Josh Reynolds in the flex spot. However, with that being said, if you were going to go through and trade away Jamar Chase, you just need to simply be charging a larger premium. Like you need significantly more. I know it's a double flex format, but also you can go through and you can always make plays on the waiver wire, right? We can always make waiver wire moves to solve the depth issue. You're simply never going to be able to make a waiver wire move, though, to replace someone like Chase. So you can do it. And I understand where you're coming from, but you just need more. Now, Miguel says 2 and 3, 12-team PBR double flex. We have Cousins, Richardson, Eckler, Etienne, Jaleel, Spears, Ayuk, Puka, Lamb, Deontay, Reed, Wilson, Laporta. Any trades? I don't necessarily think we have any trades here. I think it's a very well-balanced roster. I mean, if we could sell Laporta for either, say, Hawkinson or Andrews, I definitely do that. I mean, Reed and Wilson are on the chopping block, depending on what happens. I would probably say cut Reed and go pick up another player off the waiver wire right now, like Keontae Ingram, but yeah, solid spot. Jay says, how do you feel about Higgins in a third for JSN in a first in Dynasty? I would definitely rather have JSN in the first. The Deep End says, hey, boss, happy birthday. Thank you, my man. I traded Swift and Collins for Pollard. Great deal. Collins comes off my bench. Yeah, I assumed it's 0 RB build. Swift's RB1. Let's go ahead and let's go get Tony Pollard. I think it's a great price point to be buying. Shane says, was offering Najee for Spears. What's the move? I would rather have Najee over Spears. I think both running backs are in a similar spot. Neither are startable unless the other guy in their backfield goes down. Tim says, trade McLaurin and Najee for Devonta Smith. If you wanted to, you can. I mean, I just kind of view Najee as like the premium handcuff back, right? He's like Tyler Algier. If you really needed to start him, you can. And just send up a prayer that he gets a touchdown. But I don't know, like, what the real upside is. Like, outside of an injury, of course, to, like, Jalen Warren. Okay, but let's go ahead and let's move this around. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Connor says 12-team PBR single flex. Cousins, Bijan, Kamara, Lamb, Waddle, Andrews, Kirk. Idea for a flex upgrade. I don't think we have anything that we're doing for a flex upgrade through trades. I don't think we have enough depth where it makes sense for us to make a 2-for-1 deal, especially as we close in on the bye weeks. The only thing that I would say is if we could go through and maybe like just cut Kendrick Bourne Like those wide receivers down on the bottom of the bench, all I would ask is like, what has to happen for you to start them? How bad does it have to get? How many weeks in a row do they have to have with volume? Love to go through, just cut Kendrick Bourne, get someone else. Bone says trade Diggs for Brees, Collins, Devonta Smith, or Diggs for Puka, Metcalf, and Rachaad White. If you were going to do one, it's the Brees Hall side if you're desperate for a running back. And it depends what matters in your league and if depth is going to be an importance. Cogent, always happy to see you, my friend, says 10-team PBR 4-1. We have Mahomes, Bijan, Pollard, Keenan, Ridley, Andrews, Ayuk. And then on the bench, we have Watson, Flowers, CJ Stroud, Ferguson, Spears, Roshan. Should we package or go for another elite receiver to pair with an upgrade for Allen? I mean, I am going to be holding on to Keenan Allen if we can here. I think this is a phenomenal team. Now, because we have so much depth with this team, I agree. I think we can be making it. This is such a good team. I think we can afford to make a 2-for-1 deal and get an upgrade elsewhere. But it's like we send Christian Watson and CJ Stroud. We send CJ Stroud and Zay Flowers. And we go get the best wide receiver that we can, right? Like, that's the move that we're looking to make. I don't necessarily think we need to be trading Keenan, unless if you could send like Keenan Allen, Christian Watson, Keenan Allen, Zay Flowers, and go get a Tyreek Hill level player, then of course that's an absolute no-brainer. Or Jamar Chase. But I mean, I don't necessarily think that we can classify like Keenan Allen as a sell-high candidate by any means whenever you have no Mike Williams here. But great team. That's awesome. Kevin says 10-team full BBR double flex. Which three do we start? Between Addison, Evans, Amari, Ayuk, Myers, Montgomery. Leaning towards Montgomery, Addison, Evans. Also, happy birthday, bro. Thank you, my man. You have to play Montgomery no matter what. We're going to be going Montgomery, Ayuk, and then probably Addison. I don't know if we want to go Evans here. I would go Ayuk over Evans, considering the fact that Evans wasn't at practice today. Maybe if reports come out and say otherwise. Looks like Evans may not be 100% going into this week. Okay. Now let me refresh this so we can keep bringing these up. And as I do this, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. MG coming out saying 1-4, 12-team BBR format. We have Lamar, Walker, Hall, Chase, Ayuk, Andrews, Kamara. And then on the bench, we have Kelly, Charbonnet, Nico, Johnston, Mims, Warren. Any moves to make and who? Happy birthday, by the way. Thank you, my man. We don't have really any depth that we can be selling here. I'd say you go ahead and cut Joshua Kelly at this point. Cut Kelly. Go see if we can pick up someone else off the waiver wire that has upside. We're 1-4, so we need production in right now, but we are prioritizing that in the starting lineup already. So yeah, I would just say cut Joshua Kelly. We should have done it last week and go pick up someone else because we already saw what Kelly looks like with an injured Austin Eckler, and he's still not startable. Okay. Now, Dalton says 2-3, 10-team league. No required tight end. Mahomes, Kamara, White, Jefferson, Waddle, Brown, Collins. Not much depth. Should we trade Jefferson for Lamb and Madison or Jefferson for A.J. Brown? Hell to the yes. Even if I was 4-1, I'd probably still trade Jefferson for A.J. Brown. Just absolute no-brainer. Obviously, we're giving out some of that upside, but I mean, I'm sorry, the long-term upside, but it's not like A.J. Brown's a bum. I mean, A.J. Brown could be up there as the top 3 wide receiver rest of season as well. So yeah, let's go trade Jefferson for A.J. Brown. Now, Alex says 10-team BBR 3-2. We have Richardson, Lawrence, JT, Etienne, Lamb, Chase, Montgomery, Myers. Would you trade for an upgraded quarterback? We have an offer on the table. Lawrence, Kenneth Walker, JT for Hurts and Ridley. Do I do it? Also, which RB? Okay. Up to you on who you trade between JT, Kenneth Walker. Probably JT, as Kenneth Walker's already made it through the bye. We are in a comfortable position here at running back. If you wanted to make this move, I'm not going to fault you for it. We are getting the elite level quarterback in return. It's a very fair trade, and I think it possibly makes sense on our team. By no means is like a no-brainer. I think it is up to your personal preference. Anthony says 4-1 PBR league. We have Herbert, Cousins, Mixon, Aaron Jones, Diggs, Adams, Pittman, Laporta, Pitts. Addison, Dillon, McKinnon, Charbonnet. Need a running back this week and next week because of buys. Any trade ideas? You start McKinnon. The thing is, like, if you're not starting McKinnon during the bye week, like, why do we even have McKinnon, you know? We have Charbonnet for the upside if Walker were to go down. I mean, if you could sell Cousins and McKinnon and go get a viable running back like Rachaad White, then sure, let's go pull the trigger when we have Herbert through the bye. We can start Herbert every week regardless. Kidlo says, chat what defense rest of season, New England, Detroit, or Pittsburgh. Can everybody spam the chat? What defense would you rather have rest of season? Are you going to go with the Patriots defense, the Lions defense, or the Pittsburgh defense? Pats, New England, Detroit, or Pittsburgh? Please spam the chat. What direction are you going in? Got 1 vote for Detroit, 1 vote for New England. Detroit, Pittsburgh. This is the correct answer here. A lot of people don't view it this way, but you want your defense up in games where the opposing offense has to drop back. They have to rack up a bunch of garbage time pass attempts. You can generate sacks. You can generate turnovers that way. So yes, the Lions will be leading the majority of the games where the other teams will not. So you want Detroit. That's 100% the correct answer. Even if you want to make an argument that Pittsburgh is a more talented defense. Mathis says, 10-team BBR, trade Brown for Lamb and Brian Robinson. We lost Chubb. Other running backs are Jeff Wilson Jr., Pierce, Spears. I mean, honestly, here you may have to do it. I don't think you're getting a great value on Lamb, but yeah, if those are your running backs, I'm not going to fault you. If that's the best price you can get, that's the best price you can get. Now, Nikita says, what do we do with Ramondre Cook, Debo, Terry, Pickens, Sutton? Who should we keep and who should I trade? Keep up the good work. Thank you, my friend. Pickens will be a sell for us if you could send like Pickens and James Cook and go get a player that we really like go get someone like in the DeAndre Swift range, Jonathan Taylor. I think that would be awesome. You're not going to get anything for Ramondre. It's way too late to sell. You're not going to get anything for Sutton. You're not going to get anything for Terry. I think Debo, you're probably not going to get enough. So I think that Pickens would be that sell-high guy, and maybe we can still sell James Cook here. Trent Fletcher Band, always happy to see you, my guy, says, Allen, Watson, Montgomery, James Cook, Diggs, A.J. Brown, Ridley, Komet, Javonte, Michael Thomas, Zay Flowers, Winston, Brian Robinson, Dillon, Bigsby, Spears, and Njoku, Reynolds, Gallup, DJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Osborne. Should we go Ridley in a third for Addison? Javonte Robinson in a third for Adams and Kamara. Any moves, most points forward. So I'm operating under the assumption this is a dynasty format if we're trading picks. Javonte to Kamara. Give me Kamara even in dynasty. Brian Robinson in a third versus Devontae Adams. Give me Devontae Adams even in dynasty. Ridley in a third for Addison. I'd rather have Addison. I would do both these deals if we can. I think both trades would be great, especially if you have the most points for where we are looking to contend right now. Williams has traded James Cook for Aaron Jones. What are your thoughts? I think it's a completely fine deal. I mean, obviously with James Cook, the usage has trended downwards pretty much every single week here. Random Name says A.J. Brown for CD and Andrews. 0-5, 14-team league. 14-team league, yes, we would trade A.J. Brown for CD Lamb and Mark Andrews. That's the price point, which we would love to trade A.J. Brown for CD Lamb. That's the piece we can pick up. Trash at Fantasy coming out saying full BBR 2-3 record. Trade Jefferson, Rashad Moss, Walker, Devonta Smith. Roster is Jefferson, Olave, Deontay Flowers. It's a double flex format. 2-3. We need points now. Rashad and Moss versus Kenneth Walker. Give me Kenneth Walker. Jefferson versus Devonta Smith. If you don't think you're going to be able to get by over the next few weeks, this is a fine price point to sell out of Jefferson at. If you don't think you can make it by, if you're 4-1, I'll tell you you'd rather have Jefferson here. But 2-3, I think it's a fine price to, I don't say panic, but get out. Now, Lewis says 10-team BBR currently. What trade should we target with our team of Fields, Mostert, Walker, Olave, Metcalf, Kelsey, Amari, Jeff Wilson Jr., Charbonnet, Watson, Pickens, Myers? I mean, this is a team that does have a lot of depth, so I would love to go through and see if we can sell like either Myers or Pickens in a package with Fields to get to Mahomes, especially to stack up with Kelsey, or Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen. I think that would make a lot of sense. Joe says, quick question, Brees or Puka this week? We're going to go with Brees if it's a non-PPR, Puka if it's a full PPR. Now, Ryan says 18 PPR single flex. We have Hurts, Waddle, Nico, Bijan, Mostert, JT, Kelsey, Aaron Jones, Thomas. When to upgrade to Amon-Ra, is Waddle, Mostert fair? Do we try Aaron Jones? I'd probably rather sell Aaron Jones in an 8-team league single flex. I mean, we're overpaying a bit, but you want to overpay for studs in that format. Matt says trade Puka and Jerome Ford for Kelsey. Hell yes. We have Kupp, Ridley. Yeah, that's an absolute no-brainer. Go get Kelsey there, my man. Tritt Fletcher Band against us 2 and 3 PPR format. We have Lamar, Bijan, Swift, Diggs, Addison, Andrews, Evans. And then Godwin, Javonte, Tua, Dalvin, Kelly, Reynolds, Hunt, Spears. I mean, at this point, I think we go ahead, we approach the Anthony Richardson team and go, hey, man, I'm going to give you Tua. I need a great wide receiver in return, right? You give me Devonta Smith in return. Give me someone that I can possibly play at the flex spot and have a little bit more depth overall. Because, I mean, this team doesn't have depth. I mean, a lot of these guys at the bottom end of our team are just equivalent to guys that you could look at on the waiver wire. Like, I still probably do go through and see if we can just sell, say, someone like, I mean, not sell, but like cut Dalvin, cut Kelly, you know, and then go send to for a wide receiver like Smith, and then go pick up another player off waivers, another quarterback. Andrew says, would you trade Pacheco for DK and Metcalf? Up to you and your roster. I would probably rather keep Pacheco for this week. I'd rather have Pacheco right now. And also, I mean, maybe you could look to sell him for even more after a great Thursday night game. Now, Jim Malai coming out saying, 12-team full PPR, we have Richardson, Hill, Ridley, Pollard, JT, Andrews, Ford. And then on the bench, we have Watson, Spears, JSN, Quentin Johnson, Algier, Keaton Mitchell. Traded away Ridley, Anthony Richardson, and JT for Jefferson and Khalil Herbert. Justin Herbert makes a lot of sense. JT to Jefferson, give me JT. We paid Ridley, you pay too much. 5-0, then maybe, sure. But you had a great team. I think I'd rather have Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, Calvin Ridley over Jefferson and Justin Herbert. Now, GoPro dudes coming out saying 10-team, 2 points per reception, double flex. We have Burrow, Bijan, JT, AJ Olave, T, Watson, Goddard. Offered Kelsey, Ayuk, Aaron Jones, Kirk, Brian Robinson for JT and AJ Brown. AJ Brown to Kelsey, lateral move up to you. Jonathan Taylor for Ayuk, Aaron Jones, Christian Kirk. It's a whole lot of quarters for $1. We're dropping Downs. Thank you so much for providing who we're dropping. So Downs, Kincaid, Atwell versus Kirk, Brian Robinson, Aaron Jones. Clearly we're getting an upgrade, but then at that point we're not really able to make any waiver wire moves. It's tough. If you think that Aaron Jones has his typical usage as a receiver, you go ahead and you make this play with it being a 2-point per reception format. If you think Aaron Jones is going to come back and be a running back seeing 5 to 6 targets a game. GoPro dudes, Jay Bird coming out says 10-team PPR, 1 and 4. Saquon, Cook, Javonte, Herbert, Jaleel. Got offered Brian Robinson straight up for James Cook. Do we take it? Can everybody spam the chat? Who would you rather have at this point in a full PPR format? Would you rather have Brian Robinson or James Cook? I ranked them as James Cook RB20 this week, Brian Robinson RB24. Would you rather have Cook or Brian Robinson? We got 1 vote for Cook. And yeah, we got the majority of people coming in saying Cook. Cook, Robinson. Yeah, it looks like most people would rather have James Cook there, my friend. Jacob says, PBR start 2, JT, Evans, Ridley, Myers, Nico, London. We're going to go Ridley and maybe Nico in a full PPR format. Unless we get some more news about JT possibly expanding his role. Dario says, thoughts versus Spears versus Gibbs rest of season. Give me Gibbs over Spears relatively easily. Much better offense, much better player, much better offensive line. Sleep Deprived says 5-0 at PBR format, 10-team league. We have Allen, Love, Kelsey, Andrews, Puka, Chase, Nico, Flowers, Kyron, DJ Moore, Pacheco, James Cook. Looking long-term, trade for Achane, and if so, no, we're not going to be trading for Achane right now. We can do that in 2 to 3 weeks if you really wanted to. I think long-term, what you're going to look to do is you're going to see if we can sell Andrews. And if you want to sell like Andrews for Jefferson, I probably would prefer that, to be honest with you. if you were looking long-term. The Fiji Beneath says, yo, Mason, what's up? Traded Javonte for T. What are your thoughts? I think it's a good move. I mean, if Burrow continues to get healthier, I think that it's a move that you're not going to see anything for the next 2 weeks because obviously we can't start Higgins this week, even if he does play. And then on top of that, yeah, they have the bye afterwards, but long-term, I like it. Now, GDF coming out saying 4-1, 12-team PBR format, 4-player keeper. We have Herbert, Purdy, Taylor, Gibbs, Kyron, Gibson, Charbonnet, Diggs, Lamb, Puka, Hollywood, Dotson, Curtis Samuel, Hawkinson. Any tips? Thanks, sir. No, thank you, my friend. If we could somehow, some way send like Purdy and Hollywood and go get a wide receiver upgrade from the team that lost Anthony Richardson, now that we have Herbert back from his bye, I think that'd be awesome. But great team, super well balanced league as well. Double flex format, I mean, we probably keep still. And honestly, even a single flex league, we keep still because, I mean, we have Gibbs as a long-term player, but not viable right this second. Louis says, got offered Saquon or Ramondre for JT and Addison. What do you think? JT, Saquon, up to you. Addison, Ramondre, up to you as well. Honestly, very fair trade. I think it's going to be up to you in your roster. Adrian says, Dynasty, deeper format. Not really a contending team, but we have Hall and ETN. Should we keep ETN, but offer Devonta Smith, Gibbs in a second? Hell no, you don't keep Travis Etienne at this price. Go sell ETN. You make an argument that Gibbs will have more dynasty value than ETN this offseason. I mean, ETN, I know he's only in year 3 of his NFL career, but at the same time, he did stay all 4 years at Clemson. So ETN is actually a little bit of an older running back as well. And we know how dynasty players treat older running backs. Now, Mark says, 12-team PPR double flex. We have Purdy, Love, Kamara, Kyron, Aaron Jones, Akers, Charbonnet, Hill, St. Brown, Addison, Watson, Osborne, Dell, and Kittle. Any suggestions? Let's see if we have like Stafford off the waiver wire instead of Purdy. Nice balance at running back, wide receiver. I mean, if you could take one of these depth receivers like Tank Dell, send him with George Kittle to go get Mark Andrews, send him with George Kittle to go get TJ Hawkinson, that would be an absolute no-brainer. But outside of that, great team. I don't really think you need to do anything. Now, Jarrell coming out saying 12-team PBR, 2 and 3. JT and Mostert for Adams and Stroud. Or Stroud. Wait, what? Team is Allen, Mixon, Moss, Adams, Kupp, Pittman, Ferguson. The bench is Stevenson, Javonte, Davis, Stroud, Godwin. What should we do? Oh, okay, I got you. 2 separate deals. JT and Mostert for Adams, 2 and 3 team. Honestly, I may rather have JT and Mostert just because Mostert's going to absolutely crush right now. Stroud in a running back wide receiver off the bench like Javonte Williams for Aaron Jones. That's the deal that we would like. I would love to go through and make that deal if possible, my friend. That would be a no-brainer. Now, Kidlo says, also happy birthday, Mason. Jamison, or Quentin Johnston rest of season. Ooh. I probably still stand by JSN rest of season. He's had 20 targets in 4 weeks. White Girl says, happy birthday. Any sneaky ads for the week 7 bye apocalypse? I'm not going to lie to you. I've not looked into it too much right now. I'm taking it week by week. I know that there are a lot of teams on bye week 7. I'm not going to fault you if you wanted to go out there and look at for a sneaky pickup, but we just, how many injuries that we've had so far, I'd assume that maybe we instead want to be just getting some more information and getting some more data. And I'll definitely, if you want a sneaky-ish ad, I don't know if it's sneaky. I mean, but we should go ahead and make sure that Keontae Ingram is rostered here. Now, Miles says, what's up? We got a 1 quarterback league, 1 flex. Just traded Flowers, Stafford, Jeff Wilson for A.J. Brown. Did I win? We have Fields as my starter, Addison, Dell, Jefferson on the IR. Okay, so Stafford's a nothing burger here. Jeff Wilson Jr. is just long-term upside. We traded Zay Flowers for A.J. Brown. Phenomenal deal. Phenomenal deal. And I think, honestly, we focus in on wide receivers with upside down there on the bench if it's a 1 quarterback format. Great trade. Now, Waldy says 3-2, 18 full BBR league. We have Hurts, Barkley, Montgomery, Moss, Pierce, Jaleel, Roshan. We dropped Najee for Keontae. Both are in horrendous offenses. Both will probably be running back by committees. Don't know if we love it. Chase Smith, Lockett, Addison, Tank Dell. I would rather have dropped Tank Dell, to be honest with you. Like, in an 8-team league, these wide receivers don't matter nearly as much. Jalen Warren goes down. Najee Harris turns into a must-start running back, So I would rather drop Tank Dell. And then also, if we are looking at this team, I mean, you're in a spot where if it's an 8-team format, I'm always looking to see if we can get an elite level tight ends. So if you could send like Jordan Addison and George Kittle and go get up to like the Kelsey range, I think that'd make a ton of sense, but love the fact that we have the top end quarterback there. Legendary says Jefferson's owners 0-5, want to trade Ridley London for him. Rashad White would take Ridley's flex spot for me, so I feel like I'd be fine. I'm 4-1. What are your thoughts? I think you are getting the long-term upside there, which on your team makes a lot of sense. I would at least just offer Ridley first and see what he says. But I don't think that's a move that we need to make. I mean, you can do it. You can do it. It's just not like a no-brainer trade, right? Now, Carl says 12-team, Tua, Bijan, JT, Ayuk, Amon-Ra, Judy, Watson. What are we doing? Fine team. I don't see any sell high, guys. Peter says full BBR trade Pollard and Christian Kirk for Ridley and Jacobs. Kirk to Ridley upgrade, Pollard to Jacobs downgrade. I'd probably keep the best player in the deal. I'd probably keep Tony Pollard here. And Christian Kirk was better than we were expecting, to be honest with you. I mean, I thought Christian Kirk was going to see a step backwards in his overall volume and his snaps based off Zay Jones coming back in, but that just simply didn't happen. Now, Immortal Panda says, I'm 5-0 in a happy BR format. We get offered Eckler, Ford, Mixon, Olave, and Tua. For Allen, Brees, Michael Thomas, and Pollard. I turned it down. Am I dumb? Okay, so. Pollard to Eckler is an upgrade. Allen to Tua is a downgrade. Brees to Mixon is a slight downgrade. Michael Thomas to Olave is a slight upgrade. Ford doesn't matter. I think it is a fine trade for you to turn down if you are just concerned with long-term upside and you think Brees Hall is going to continue to expand and continue to get better. I could honestly see that going one way or another, but in general, I never like trading like my 5 best players for your 5 best players, Like, I don't really see what purpose that does serve. But Jason coming out, always happy to see my man. So sorry me again. Ford 1, triple wide receiver. Is Jefferson worth Deontay Nico? 4 weeks minimum, week 10 bye. He offered me Jefferson, Waller. I have Laporta. I have Pittman, Waddle, Hollywood, Nico, Puka, Burks. Okay, so it's a 3 wide receiver league. Depth matters a little bit more. We're selling Deontay Johnson, Nico Collins for Justin Jefferson. Yeah, it is a minimum of 4 weeks here. Straight minimum. If you're getting Jefferson and Waller, and then we can go and pivot and sell Waller for another wide receiver, and we're 4-1, yes, we are going to go ahead and do this. Yes, we're going to do it. Obviously, we were taking on risk, but ultimately, is Deontay Johnson really going to be a league winner here? Probably not. Now, Long Legacy says, happy BR trade my Fields in Hollywood for Jalen Hurts. 100% this is the deal we're looking to sell Fields for. Other receivers are St. Brown, A.J. Brown, Watson, Tank, Dell, JSN. He doesn't want Dell. Yeah, I would sell Justin Fields in Hollywood for Jalen Hurts for sure. Now, Mark says 10-team single flags 3-2. We have Allen, CMC, Walker, Amon-Ra, Addison, Andrews, Pacheco. On the bench, we have Amari, Dobbs, Lockett, Hollywood, Foreman, DeMercado. Any trades or sit on our hands? I think we sit on our hands for now. I really like the construction of the team at the top end. I don't think we have too much depth. I think that maybe Pacheco will be a sell-high guy if he goes out and has 150 yards against Denver's defense. JJ says just traded Bijan, Algier, Christian Kirk for Eckler, Garrett Wilson in a full BBR format. Did we just whiff? Bijan to Eckler. Honestly, Eckler's already gone through his bye, and it's a full BBR. If you want to go Eckler, not going to fault you. Algier and Christian Kirk for Garrett Wilson. Not going to fault you for going Garrett Wilson there either. I mean, of course, I am a Texas Longhorn, Ogamoran, so I'm going to tell you Bijan Robinson. But, yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to go out there and pay up and get Austin Eckler coming out of his bye. Now, Zach says 10-team at BBR. We have Allen, Eckler, Swift, Debo, Gabe Davis, Ingram, Jacobs, and Hall. Should we trade Ingram and Jacobs for Ridley and Hawkinson? Ooh. Jacobs to Hawk, downgrade. Ingram to Ridley, upgrade. We have a ton of running back production as well. So I think you can afford to go out there and do it. If you really wanted to, I think you can afford to go do it. It makes sense with the Jefferson injury too, to go overpay for TJ Hawkinson. Now Montel coming out saying 2-3, 12-team PPR format. Trade Kelsey Smith for Andrews Allen. Don't care about the bye weeks. Kelsey, Allen, kind of up to you. Smith, Andrews, kind of up to you as well. I mean, you can if you would want. We have Bijan Kamara. I'm fine if you want to make this deal as long as you are doing it because you would rather have those players and not because they are on bye in week 10. Jay says, offered Jefferson and Pierce for Lamb and Brian Robinson. I would rather have Lamb and Brian Robinson here. I think if you're trading for Jefferson, you need a bigger discount. Now, Afiz coming out saying 3-2, 18 full BBR format. We have Lamar, Kyron, Walker, Barkley, Ramondre Moss, Amari, Jaleel, Tyreek, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Great team. Traded Lamar Barkley for Pat Mixon. Don't know if we love that deal, honestly. I mean, if it's a 6-point passing touchdown format, sure. 4-point passing touchdown format, I kind of like the rushing upside of Lamar. You're saying we're projected to win it all. I mean, I would love... I mean, we have Hawkinson. So, no, honestly, 8-team league. We have the elite quarterback. We have the elite tight end. Maybe in a few weeks, if Hawkinson just crushes with no Jefferson, we trade Hawkinson in a small piece for Kelsey before Jefferson comes back. The Noctorious One says, who should we stream for quarterback? Stafford isn't available. Should we go Geno, Baker? Any suggestions? I think we would go Geno over Baker. I think Geno would be a completely fine pickup here. Okay. Now, winning like a motherflocker. Happy to see you, my man. Saying, happy birthday. Got you a lake house, but I ran out of wrapping paper. Oh, my God, my man. Well, good thing is I'm a grown man. I don't need my presents wrapped up, so I'm fine with it. But I'm 1-4 BBR. We only start 2 receivers. Thoughts on starting both KJ and Addison? I'd assume that we'd have a better option. I really like starting Addison this week. I mean, KJ Osborne, you could do worse, but I would like to see if we had someone better. Now, John says, any moves I should make after Jefferson on the IR? We have Hurts, Kamara, Mixon, Kirk, Puka, Hawkinson, Kyron, Madison, Lockett, Roshan, KJ, Logan Thomas, Chubauber, 12-team PPR 3-2. Not necessarily, so we lose out on a little bit of depth, so it'll be difficult for us to go through and make some of these deals. I think we're probably just going to be sitting on our hands. Yeah, really strong team, and obviously we are just kind of waiting until we get Jefferson back here. Tristan says, thoughts on Kyler Murray when he returns? I don't know if Kyler Murray returns this year. If he does, he should be very exciting because this is a player that obviously does have rushing upside at the minimum. Now, Turner coming out says, 10-team at BBR, 3 wide receiver, 1 flex. Trade is Mostert, Taylor, Puka, Ridley for Pacheco, Davis, Kupp, Jefferson. So, Taylor to Kupp, upgrade. Mostert to Pacheco, downgrade. Ridley to Jefferson, up to you and your team. Puka to Davis, downgrade. Honestly, probably don't do this. Probably not getting a big enough discount on Jefferson. Especially with the Achane injury as well. Maybe that's a deal you make 2 to 3 weeks once we get this production in right now. Sebastian says trade Brees and Hawkinson for JT and Amon-Ra. It's a 12-team BBR double flex format. I would go ahead and do this in a double flex league. I mean, I think the elite level tight end will matter a little bit less. They'll make up a smaller percentage of our starting lineup output. Okay. Then we have Ryan says double flex Kirk Warren for Pittman or Amari. If you have a shallow bench, we can go ahead and do it. I mean, Jalen Warren, even if he's expanding his role and now someone you want over, Najee still in the same spot. Like, you can't start him unless Najee goes down. So it's just like Tyler Algier. Adrian says, my last question was to offer Smith or Gibbs in a second. Are you keeping ETN at the moment? Oh my gosh, it's tough. ETN in Dynasty, if you're rebuilding, probably not. I would love to go through and see if we can sell like ETN and get back Gibbs in a few picks. And worth swapping for JT if possible. Happy belated, brother. Appreciate you, my man. JT, ETN, same age, same long-term outlook. Kind of up to you on a rebuilding roster. Ultimately, if you are looking at a rebuilding team, anything we are doing, we are trying to sell running backs. Smith or Gibbs at a second, it will be up to you on a rebuilding team, but without the NFL treats running backs year to year, you don't want to be trading for guys like JT on a rebuilding dynasty team. Lucifer says 3 receivers, 2 flex, tight end premium. We have Herbert, Jacobs, Gainwell, Diggs, Keenan, Ayuk, Henry, Watson, Amari, Hunt, Charbonnet, Rice, Deonta. Got Pierce, AJ Brown for Ridley, Pittman, Stroud. Oh, great deal. Yeah, I think we go ahead. We make that deal. We take AJ Brown over Ridley. Pierce, Pittman, kind of up to you. Stroud has no value here when we have Herbert for us. Yeah, great team. I think we just roll as is. We especially really like to see that we have the Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen stack. Wide receiver depth does matter here in this format. Elite Henry says Evans and Saquon for Kyron and Olave in a happy VR format. Saquon to Kyron, slight downgrade. Evans to Olave, slight upgrade. Fair deal. Depends on how worried you are about Saquon's offensive line and offense. Astro RL coming out saying 2 and 3, 10 PPR. We have Lawrence, Etienne, Swift, Mixon, JT, Jefferson, Watson, Hopkins. Nico, Flowers, Komet, Hollywood. Got offered Lamb, Andrews, Connor for Hollywood, Watson, Swift, and Jefferson, JT for Diggs, Walker. What do we do? So Jefferson, JT for Diggs, Walker. You're definitely going to go Diggs and Walker. I mean, Walker, JT, up to you. Diggs way over Jefferson. And then the other deal, Swift versus Lamb, up to you. But Watson versus Andrews, easily Andrews. Hollywood versus Connor doesn't really matter that much. So we would go with the CD and Andrews side on the first one, but definitely the Diggs and Walker one on the second. But I think that should be it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to piss myself. We've chugged so much water in this live stream, so we're going to call it here. Thank you again. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be getting a Patrick Mahomes special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for tomorrow night. And because it was our birthday this week, Underdog's hooking everybody up with a Justin Herbert special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. Super happy we're able to get you all that, so please make sure you take advantage. And Roberto, Moss Gallup for Michael Thomas and Dylan, who wins? Literally up to you. It doesn't matter. But, I mean, really, super close trade. Depends on what you think with Moss. But thank you again. Really appreciate y'all. Really hope we get to see you out tomorrow night.